Make a character, huh?
How magic works in this system, because I'm always interested in playing a mage, but it's usually a lot of work.
In Genesys, it's not really complicated. You have like certain general things that you can do, like general magical stuff. Like, well, I'll show you.
Because that is one thing I do really like about the Shadowrun is the dice pool for the magic and resisting drain.
Magic was complicated. It had layers, but it had a satisfying amount of crunch once you understood it.
So let's say you want to do.
I loved how you could defend other people with your magic pool.
So there are a couple of different things that you can do with magic, right? Basically, they're types of spells, right? You don't really have exactly a
So it's not like you have a fireball spell, but you have damaging spells.
Right, you have attack, augment, barrier, conjure, dispel, curse. And they have different little mechanics, but they're very broad because you basically say, I want to accomplish this with my magic. And then we'll say, okay, that's an attack. That's an attack magic thing. That's a curse magic thing. Right? Then you will make a Arcana or Primal check, depending on what kind of magic it is. Right?
Using the Force die?
No.
No.
And then based on, you just make a regular check like you would anything else. And then based on the successes and, the difficulty or whatever, you either succeed or you don't. Right? And it's just that simple. However, you do take strain every time you make a check to try to make something magical happen. You take 2 strain. So it's like,
can it be canceled?
Regardless of how the check succeeds, you still have to take that 2 strain. So it's a limiting thing. Like, you can't just fire off magic willy-nilly the whole entire session, right? You have a limit.
It's like using one of the skills.
Yeah.
In the Star Wars.
I like this. Because usually playing a magic user is a lot of work.
Yeah, here's your codified small copy of the rules that you, as a magic user, get.
And here's a list of spells that you have to memorize. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of like the parry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Just like sometimes you're gagged, silenced, or otherwise unable to speak. I would add 2 setback die on there.
So it's semi-support maybe.
You can use these magical things like even in narrative encounters where you're not doing combat. You just want to use magic for some kind of function. But generally speaking, it's doing magically what could be done with a skill is harder. Does that make sense? It would just be easier to just use the skill. Whereas if you're going to use magic for it, the difficulty might be increased, or there might be some complicating factor or whatever.
Magic is no
But
shortcut.
like if you have a low agility character and you don't want to bother with guns, magic.
Yeah, magic is absolutely a thing you can do.
Just magic.
So let's put characters together. Okay. It's pretty simple. The first step is to, and you can sort of let this step slide for a while until you've got an idea of mechanics. Is just come up with the background of your character. Like, who do you want to be, right? The second step is you're going to pick a meta type.
Okay.
Now, what a meta type is that. So to refamiliarize yourself with Shadowrun, basically magic came back into the world. Technically, they didn't know it came back; it just came from people who were alive. And the 6th, world began, right? And then, because of this presence of magic, latent genetic expressions started happening, which
people began to goblinize.
Exactly, or turn into elves or dwarves or whatever, right?
Which I think is the goblinization is
is the term for
becoming another species.
Well, specifically becoming orcs or trolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it would apply to elves or dwarves or anything.
From what I understand, that goblinization is just for orcs or trolls.
Oh, okay.
But those genetic expressions will lead to elves or dwarves or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so, basically, picking a metatype is picking that kind of thing. Do you want to be a human clone? That's an option you can have. Like where you are clone number 6 of a batch of 300 of this one particular, human form that's designed to do one particular skill.
So it's not
Now
like
you're-
paranoia, like you got 6
No,
characters.
no. It's like you are a copy of this model, right?
Yeah,
But now you're on your own.
genotype.
Right.
Yeah, more like Star Wars.
You could be a dwarf. You could be an elf. There are several different types of humans, based on what kind of human that you want to be in terms of your characteristics. Like there's the dedicated human, the charismatic human, the intellectual human, the average human, which is straight across the board. The nimble human, the strong human, and those aren't technically hard meta types. Those are just if you want to play a human, but you want to start with better brawn, you're going to pick a strong.
I see.
That makes sense.
So they don't have those varieties for, say, trolls.
They do not, no. Okay. Because those are kind of codified. Orcs and trolls start with, specific values for brawn, maybe lower intelligence, and
I see.
in the fantasy
Or
sense.
cunning.
You could be an orc, you could be a troll, and those are your options. So basically, you just have to say, okay, what do I want to play, and then that will give you certain starting values, right? Your characteristics will start at certain numbers. Your wound threshold and strain threshold will start at certain numbers. You'll get a certain starting skill, maybe plural, and then you'll have a special thing related to your race, right? Where here's an example. If you're a clone,
Excuse me.
you have the meta type advantage called a face in the crowd, which means you can add a setback die to checks that are meant to pick you out of a crowd.
Okay.
So if somebody's trying to pick you out of a crowd, you say, I have a face in the crowd. So if I'm rolling for an NPC or whatever is trying to spot you, I have to add this in to make it harder.
Right, because I look like half the people you know.
Yep.
Exactly. But you have to add that to social skill checks when you're interacting with people who don't know you specifically, the clone, right? You're clone number 6. Well, you could be clone number anything, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's a give and a take thing,
Gotcha.
right?
So what are elf stats? Agility and cunning?
What's that?
What are the elf's stats?
The elf, they have 1 brawn, which makes
Nope.
sense.
Nope.
3 agility, and everything else is a 2.
Everything else
Now,
is two?
3, for your reference, is an average number. That's average
It's actually above
characteristic.
average. 2 is supposed to be
No,
average.
3 is average.
So elves are
According to
average in agility and below average in
Look,
everything else?
Not
'Cause
according
like
to
the-
actual law of averages. Yes.
Because the 2 is supposed to be average, because that's what the human across the board is 2 across.
I thought it was 3. Anyway, that's hovering around average.
Or is that for difficulty?
No, average difficulty is 2. Easy is 1. Simple is 0.
See, even that's where I got it, is average is 2 dice.
Yeah, in terms of difficulty.
Don't confuse Trey.
It's true. Don't confuse me.
Who's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know who's on third.
Third base.
No, I'm just asking who's on first.
Right.
That's a brilliant bit.
It's so good. I remember the first time we showed that to Zoe, and you were explaining it to her and showing it to her. She thought it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, she was right.
She was like 7.
There's a great, I don't know how many times I've mentioned this, but there's a great variant of
Who's on
that
first?
bit that Sloven and Alan does, where they do the exact same bit, but they replace who, what, and everything like that, those with the names of actual baseball players, but they do the bit the exact same way. It's so funny.
It is pretty.
He's like, no, Jose Martinez is on first. That's what I'm asking. And it's this weird,
It's cool.
absurdist riff on that.
Aren't they the ones who do the time travel one too?
Turkey slapper, ham slapper, and they do the time travel bit. Yeah,
Oh man.
it's really fun. Anyway, so you just pick a meta type, and then I'll give you, or I've got the copy of the book here on the iPad if you want to take that look around. In the description for the event on Facebook, there's a link to, again, the book and everything like that. So if you want to go ahead and look at that,
Oh wait, my phone's I think almost dead.
you're more than welcome to.
I think I need to call David Caddy.
Oh, you know Dave.
You know David Caddy?
Yeah, I know
Really?
David
He's
Caddy.
my assistant tech director.
Oh, cool.
Uh-oh.
Good guy.
Did something go wrong after all?
He said, "Are you at the show? We need to talk."
Uh-oh.
Holy crap!
No, you're right. You're right, Lance. 2 is
Pardon me.
average characteristic baseline.
Okay.
Because
3 and up is above average. You're right. I'm sorry.
Because you get 1 for a 3 on most races.
Yeah, so twos are straight across the board.
Sounds like
And
a
that was consistent with itself.
And all is right with the world.
Now that document is, again, it's like 600 something pages. It's a sizable PDF, so it's like 60 something megabytes. So if you're having trouble loading it,
It'll probably kill my battery because I'm at like 5%.
I have other versions of other ways that you can read.
I feel like it's just going to overwhelm me and stress me out if I try to look at it.
Is there one
that
with?
accurate?
No,
Okay. All right.
I mean it's laid out, and like every other
Okay.
RPG book in the world, it's not.
I don't think my phone can handle it.
That's fine. We'll just work through it.
Cunning.
So what kind of metatype do you want to?
Cunning human.
A cunning human? Well, there's a
I'm just gonna download it.
for cunning.
Yeah.
That would be a resourceful human, is what they call it.
Resourceful. Okay.
You've got 2s in everything except for cunning. You've got a 3 in cunning and a 1 in presence. Make sense?
Yeah, since I don't think any other metahuman probably would have.
A
Cunning
boost to cunning.
Yeah. I almost thought Elf would have gotten like
No, nobody else has a boost to cunning.
agility. and
Elves have a
cunning,
boost to
Intellects,
agility.
apparently.
or
Threats.
intellect and have 2 ones.
So is that what you're going with, the resourceful
Was
human?
that?
Yeah, we'll
Do you
go
need to
with
leave?
that.
No.
And its presence is a 1.
No.
Yeah,
Somebody
2s
else's
across the
problem.
board
The
The
except
show
for
was
1
only
in
45
presence
minutes
and
long,
3 in
so by the
cunning.
time I got there, it would be over anyway.
Yeah.
So your wound threshold, which is how many wounds you can take before you expire, right? For you, Lance, is 9 plus your brawn number, which right now is 2. Right?
So it's 11 currently.
Your strain threshold is 11 plus your willpower.
11. Wow.
Yeah,
Plus willpower. Oh, I thought.
plus willpower.
That's right. It is willpower.
You start with 100 experience points to spend later.
Nice.
Okay.
I can.
Okay, Leon loves popcorn.
I am.
Two ladies going for it.
I pity
Drunk,
people who don't
that's
have
okay.
dogs. They have to clean up their own messes.
I know, right?
Because the
It's
popcorn
not
butter.
even Butterfingers.
Well, no,
You-
because the butter on the popcorn.
Yes,
Salty
but
fingers.
You start with 1
those
rank
little connections in cars.
in
It's
perception or streetwise.
perception or streetwise.
So pick one of those and put a rank in it.
You know what's happening.
Streetwise.
And then you have something called "It Came Out of the Blue."
Came out of the blue. Okay.
You can put that into there's a notes section on the back of that page or whatever.
Not critical. This will be good. Yeah.
Once per session, you can spend a story point as an incidental action to change any number of advantages to successes equal to your cunning on a single skill check. So basically, you're transforming advantages into successes instead. But the limit is your cunning, and you can only do that once per session. You have to spend a story point. It's got to be in a single check. You can't spread that across multiple checks.
And it's decimal point.
Is it? Oh, it's not hyperlinked. That's okay.
Text searchable.
I'm sure it's text searchable. Yeah.
Now Trey, we do in La Marasma, we do fortune points, right? And you're familiar with how those work. The Genesys system is actually where that idea came from, and so it has its own thing called story points, which are you've got a certain amount of good and a certain amount of bad, story points, right? These good, the players can use. If they cash one in, they can upgrade one of their dice.
Okay.
They can make the difficulty of their opponent
Hi.
higher,
Okay.
right? Make it harder for them to accomplish something. Sometimes it takes a story point to do some special ability or a talent, right? Or they can use it to introduce some new fiction into the game, like a minor sort of fictional change.
Okay.
Like, oh, well, I happen to pack this small thing,
Okay.
or Oh, there's the window is open instead of locked, right?
Okay.
It's ajar slightly, so I can get in easier. Very small narrative tweaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I have the ability to do that as well with the bad ones. Right?
Okay.
So a lot of the ways more difficult of a task to upgrade a dice, he'll use a destiny point, a story point, to upgrade a purple die to a red die
Okay.
if he wants that despair to go in
As a possibility.
as a possibility.
So that's your resourceful human. Does anybody else know what they want to do in terms of meta types? Yeah.
I've got an idea. But,
Okay. You want to hear about it first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do want to play a caster because that sounds like fun in this system.
Sure. Yeah.
So I want somebody that doesn't have low intelligence, cunning, or willpower.
Okay.
I mean, elves tend to
You
work
probably
very well.
it'd probably
And-
just be willpower. So
And probably one of those things high.
Then probably human. Because what is dwarf? Is dwarf just...
Dwarf is 2 cunning, 3 willpower, 2 presence. Their agility is low. Elves have a high agility, 1 brawn, and the 2 is everything else. You might want to do... Well, it depends on what kind of magic you're going to do. Are you going to do Arcana or Primal?
What's the difference?
The difference between Arcana and Primal?
Yeah.
Arcana is like...
No.
Think of Arcana as being like the wizardy magic,
yeah, the classical
Right.
magic.
and then Primal is like the druidic or
Shamanistic.
magic. Yeah, shamanistic stuff.
Shamanistic now.
Your character wants to heal a friend, wishes to manipulate or control the weather, communicate plants or animals, and gain the cooperation of natural forces. That's Primal. Arcana, wants to throw a fireball at a group, tries to use a crystal ball to observe the movements of a distant individual, curse a foe, and bring misfortune.
So I either want high intellect or high willpower with not a low in one of those things.
High intellect and high cunning, or high intellect and high willpower?
High intellect and I either want. It's got to be one or the other.
Okay.
So either high intellect or high willpower, and not a 1 in either one of those things.
Then you might want to pick an intellectual human, because that is 2 brawn, 1 agility, 3 intellect, and then 2 cunning, 2 willpower, and 2 presence. There's an example. There's also the option of the... Let's see
The
here.
classic sense. I think the arcane.
You could also pick a dwarf.
Well, the shaman's
A dwarf is 2 brawn, 1
for
agility,
magic.
2 intellect, 2 cunning, 3 willpower, and 2 presence. So. And then there's the human average, which is just 2s across the board. But you get
You also get experience.
a little bit more experience to burn, and
You can use the experience to bump up your stats.
yeah.
And be more focused.
I forgot about that.
So you can go ahead. I'm actually pan through this. I've got it open over here.
So, I think I'd like to be the most bruiser I can be.
Troll.
Troll.
I was thinking troll
Yes,
myself,
troll.
but
Trolls start with 4 brawn,
goodness.
and the cap is 5
Yep.
for those attributes. So
Okay.
there
You
you
can
go.
bump it up to 5, but it's
Very expensive.
expensive.
Trolls have an average height of about 9 foot 2 inches,
Holy crap.
average weight of 496 pounds.
Even in the
They're
regular
huge.
Shadowrun,
They are
they're
huge.
the most expensive meta-human.
Because you're buying like clothing or cars that are sized up to fit you.
Oh,
Where it's like, we've given you a bucket seat because you can't fit in a regular seat.
And I was thinking just like
Your home
in
has to
game,
be
like the
bigger.
karma points.
What's the difference
They
between troll
cost
and
the
an orc?
most
Well, an orc is
because you get so many stats.
it's really so much in like orcs are not as dull as trolls are, like intellectually. Like trolls have a 1 in well, they have 2 intellect, but they have 1 willpower and 1 agility.
Okay.
Orcs only have
So not only am I
There's a difference. Orcs have lower intelligence in this. Whereas trolls get a 2, orcs have a 1.
that's right. Okay, so there are
But
some minor
willpower.
differences, and orcs are generally small,
Willpower,
right? They're the
right.
same. Orcs are generally speaking 6'2", 282 pounds. They live for about
That
40
kinda makes
years.
sense.
That sort of thing.
I'm gonna
Kind of.
stick with the troll.
The troll?
Yeah. So I got a 4 brawn.
4 brawn,
Uh huh.
1 agility,
Okay.
2 intellect,
Okay.
Feels
2
good.
cunning,
Okay.
1 willpower,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 presence.
What kind of character? What metatype are you picking?
I'm doing
So-
Mark.
I'm a resourceful human.
So your wound threshold, which you can see there's...
Yep.
See wounds here? Left
Yeah.
is current. That's what you current,
Right. Gotcha.
And then the right hand says threshold. Right now,
Whoa.
that is 13 plus your brawn. So that's 17.
17 threshold. 1 threshold.
Now that may change if you use your experience in a little bit to like bump up
Okay.
one of your
Like the Warcraft.
characteristics.
I'm guessing that's pretty high.
That's pretty high for a
sounds-
wound threshold. Absolutely, you're a tank. You can take a lot of hits. Your strain threshold is 8 plus your willpower, which is 9. You get tired a little easier,
Okay.
right?
I think I'm going with the intellectual human because that does give you a significant boost of willpower because it's 12 plus willpower.
Right.
This is 10
Yeah. Okay. You start with 80 experience points.
or skill.
Okay. Where do I
Over on the
see?
right-hand side,
Let's see. Total
80 available.
Oh, 80 available.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's
your
all the
total-
same.
80.
Your total right now is 80 right now. Yeah. And you start with 1 rank in the coercion skill, which is over in social skills.
Okay.
Start with 1 rank in that.
Okay.
You also start with dark vision.
Which is
where you can put that in the notes on the back of your page. Or
Personal notes right at the bottom.
dark vision. Okay.
dark vision means you can see in almost total darkness.
Okay.
And the mechanical thing about that is that if I were imposing setback die because it's dark, you get to remove up to 2 of those,
Okay.
right?
Up to 2. Why would I choose less than 2?
Well, if it's only 1
Oh, I
setback,
see.
you know what I mean? Basically, you're removing 2 every time.
Okay.
But
But if
Yeah.
it's like really dark and you got 3, you still have to.
you still have 1 boost die.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 setback die. Yeah. So you get to remove at least 2 because of darkness. You also have dermal plated.
Oh yeah.
A troll's dermal deposits in its skin, protects it against physical trauma. Your soak rating,
Okay.
Probably increased by 1 or 2.
your soak rating, which is at the far left,
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
that increases by 1.
Okay.
Now that's going to change depending on what kind of armor you wear and everything like that. But
Okay.
right now, you've always got at least 1.
Gotcha.
Now, what the soak does is, if you take any damage, you subtract your soak value from that,
Oh, okay.
right? So your damage is going to be damage done to you is less because of that.
Gotcha.
And that's it. That's your
And that's
starting
why you
stat.
What are
only
these
get 80 XP.
Those are setback die.
Setback. Okay.
Or you can just make black squares. Like people use a lot of the symbols. They do a green.
Okay.
They'll use like either letters, like I do when I write down my pool for something. I'll say 2G1Y or 2BLK or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. And the various meta variants of the trolls: Cyclops, Fomori, Giant, Minotaur. Those are examples. Of,
Oh man, I could have been a minute.
they don't have any mechanical things. They're just
Just
like that.
flavor.
That's just
Minotaurs actually look like minotaurs.
rare Mediterranean troll. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
And the Fomori are twisted and ugly, or
Fomori, Irish Celtic troll. Yeah, so I guess they are. Yeah, they are much like
it's,
their
it's a troll with a
folklorian-
little bowler hat and a green shamrock on his
Exactly. and a wicked alcoholism.
But
So-
to
What
be
was the
fair,
first one?
It says I
which
start with
troll
a
is
knowledge
it?
skill. Does that
Cyclops.
mean I have to actually choose a knowledge? Because
Good
I
old
see
Greek.
the knowledge skills are all blank.
Oh, you start with a rank in a knowledge skill? Yes.
I'm really thinking either street samurai or mercenary.
So the Cyclops actually
I think I'm
one-eyed.
gonna go with the
Yeah, Cyclops has 1 eye.
covert
So
specialist.
they're bad at ranged weapons and things like that.
No, again, this is. I just
It's
mentioned
more
that to you
flavor.
because it's just fluff. It's just flavor.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Your metatype is still troll and is still.
I see. Okay, so I managed the depth perception by like doing my head like this when I was young or something.
Something like that.
Okay.
Or just a series of mirrors attached to your head.
All right.
Artificial depth perception.
It's funny that I have a
Stephen, did you pick
Minotaur
your
with an
metatype
Italian
already?
accent.
Yep, going with orc.
Orc. Good.
Orky boys.
And that's ORK. Thank you very much here in
I'm
Shadowrun.
gonna be.
Oh,
I'm
is it?
Yep.
Interesting.
No C.
gonna be a clone.
Gonna be a clone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Have you got the document pulled up? You
Yeah.
can look at it.
Choose
Cool.
and everything.
Mm-hmm.
90 experience. Is anyone else taking medicine?
I don't know my class
yet.
skills yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after you've picked a meta type and you've got that basic information recorded, then you pick a career, which is kind of like a class, right?
Okay.
Okay, I got a question before
Yes.
we move on. If I wanted to take magic as a skill, would that be redundant because of the arcana skill and the primal skill?
In terms of like a knowledge magic,
Yeah.
yes, it would be redundant.
Okay.
And the way that magic works in Shadowrun is that you have to be like awakened, right? So it's part of who you are rather than something that you learn, right? So, for instance, if you picked a career that wasn't a magical career, you can't put ranks in magic. You can't suddenly learn magic.
You have to be awakened.
Yeah.
You have to be awakened, right? So that means as you're putting ranks into your skills later and everything, you can't just get magic unless your career says, by the way, this is a career skill for you, man. It's magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to make that clear. So like you don't, if you have a rank in magic right now, that you can't do that unless you are picking a career that
It's going to be a.
is going to be a magic career.
I'm just trying to find a knowledge skill that wouldn't be redundant to any other skill.
Well, it depends on. It has to be something like some kind of subtopic or something like that, like
Knowledge of ley lines.
knowledge ley lines, knowledge hacking technology, knowledge Hong Kong streets, knowledge. You know what I mean? Like something.
You could do like a knowledge of spirits.
Yeah.
It's a kind of subclass of magic.
Knowledge
but when you
cooking.
It's
If you're, I don't know.
a lot more specific.
A culinary wizard.
Go,
Yeah.
Because, like, even in
Sorry.
Shadowrun,
That
they,
cookie
they,
was
they
literally
All
magic.
right, how about
have, like, arcane theory,
Knowledge,
they have barrier study.
Corporate knowledge about knowledge about
Corporate
corporations.
knowledge.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Megacorps. Yeah.
Yep. And that'll give you like a general overview.
Remember, never,
like if
never
we're dealing
cross
with this
Aslan.
corporation? I know
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, you can roll knowledge corporation. I can tell you, okay, well, yeah, you know a good bit about say their group or whatever.
Mhm.
You know,
But you probably won't know their like security operating procedures
Yeah.
unless you took corporate security. Then you wouldn't know as much about
Right.
corpses large.
so for your career, the way that the careers work is that you'll pick a career and it'll give you 4 career skills, right?
Okay.
That means 4 of these skills that you'll check off or bubble in as a career skill.
Okay.
Career skills are cheaper to upgrade than non-career
Gotcha.
skills.
Yeah, I noticed that there's a couple there.
Yeah. And the career will give you 4 career skills.
Okay.
After that, you get to select 4 other skills to kind of nudge your career in one direction or another, right? To kind of specialize.
Okay.
Now, there are some limits to that. Like, you have to pick at least 1 social or combat skill.
Oh, okay.
You can't pick more than 2 additional general skills. I'll explain that in a minute. So the different kind of careers, based on the Shadowrun setting, are assassin, pretty straightforward, bounty hunter, combat mage, covert ops specialist, a decker, one who can directly interface with the cyber deck to access the virtual reality of the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drone rigger, face, social skills, right? Gunslinger, investigator, martial artist, mercenary, a rigger. And a rigger is basically somebody who interfaces with vehicles and drones. The drone rigger is obviously a more specialized version of that. Smuggler, sprawl ganger, so like a gang member or something like that, you know?
Okay.
So like your career skills for that would be brawl, coercion, knowledge, and streetwise. Street mage, street samurai, which is a Shadowrunner who does like physical combat. Street shaman, a tank, which is exactly what you expect. Brawl, gunnery, which is like carrying around a fucking minigun, or
Rocket launcher.
ranged heavy and resilience would be a tank, right?
Okay.
There's technomancers, who have the ability to affect computers directly without needing to use like a cyber deck or something like that. They just kind of like feel it and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Tribal shamans and weapons specialists. There you go.
Technomages are still like weird and not understood as a whole.
Tank it is then.
Yeah. Tank it up.
So your career will be tank.
Often with a system that I'm completely unfamiliar with, I decide to just
Be a beefy boy. Yeah.
be bruiser because the rules are usually less arcane.
Oh, sure, yeah. So you have brawl as a career skill. That's in the combat.
Yes, brawl, okay.
Mark that as a career skill. Then you've got gunnery.
Gotcha.
And gunnery is for like, you know, if you're operating a weapon that's affixed to a vehicle.
Yeah.
Or,
When I
you know,
think of
that's-
gunnery, I think of
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like pistols and stuff.
That would be ranged light, for instance.
Okay.
You have ranged heavy
Okay.
as a career skill. So like heavy duty, like assault rifles and sniper rifles and like
Shotgun.
heavy armaments, that sort of thing. And resilience as a career skill.
Okay.
And resilience is the kind of thing that you roll to like go without sleeping, fight off a toxin or a poison, recover from critical injury without medical attention, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Right. So those are your 4 career skills.
Okay.
Then you have 4 that you can pick, right, to make those career skills. Here are the limitations on that.
Okay.
You need to pick at least 1 social or combat skill.
Or combat. You don't.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
You can't pick more than 3 combat or social skills as you're putting these out.
Okay. Hold on.
At least 1 social or combat skill.
Okay. And no more
No
than
more than
those.
3 of those
Uh-huh.
can be selected. And magic skills count as combat skills for this purpose.
Okay.
Not that you'd be able to take the magic skill anyway.
This is
As
a
a
total
career
of 4
skill.
skills I'm picking, right?
Your 4 skills.
Okay.
And no more than 2 additional general skills can be selected.
So you really have to put 1 in social, 1 in combat, and 2 in general. Then.
Not necessarily, like, but
Put
No
2.
more than 2 general. You,
could
you
do-
don't have to have any.
You could
general.
put 2 in general and 2 in social.
yeah, for instance,
That's what I'm saying. I just, if you want to put 3 in general, which I do, you can't.
you can't put 3 in general.
Cool.
And that's just for extra 4.
Those are the extra 4. Right. Your career skills are separate from that. It's a math.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like our first ranks.
Okay.
Or
So,
No, you'll start with a
already
rank
got
in
one in
each of the 4
coercion,
career
which is
skills,
one.
not the
Okay.
ones you picked. But
and these things that I'm going to pick are going to be career skills, right?
those will be career skills as well.
Decided
So
to
you
make
should
them-
have 8 at the end.
Gotcha.
You've got 4 that you got from your career, and then 4 that you choose. And then, as I'm reading this correctly, you get a rank in each of those.
Oh, cool.
Oh, and
And a
each-
rank. Okay.
For
In
everything
each
you have a
of
career
the 8.
Or
Starting character may choose 4 of their career skills
okay.
and get a rank. But it's across those 8. You can choose 4 of those
Okay.
and get a free
There you
rank.
go. So it's
Oh, I see. So yeah, I'll have a total of 8 career skills, and for 4 of them, I can give myself a rank.
Exactly.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay. I will work that out in a moment.
1, 2.
So Steven, you were doing Street Samurai?
I went with mercenary, but
Mercenary.
similar vibe, just different set of skills. Okay. Invest experience points.
So I get a knowledge skill for my career.
Mhm.
Can I just have that be the same knowledge I picked, or do I have to?
Yeah, you can make that a career skill if that's what you want.
Because
It just gave you a rank in it, right?
Skill.
yeah, I think it did.
So you can make it a career skill because you just got a rank in it.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
So I'll do Assassin.
You'll do assassin.
Okay.
So what assassin does, it gives you melee, ranged heavy,
Really?
skullduggery, and stealth.
Okay, so melee,
Ranged heavy,
ranged heavy,
skullduggery, and stealth.
skullduggery. That's okay. Do 1,
morphine. It's done.
Okay.
2.
Okay. Take some.
I just
Take more.
took some. I can't take
Take some morphine.
We don't have any morphine.
That you know about.
We're recording this. We don't have any more.
Oh yes, we do. I don't
Do I
care.
need to edit out?
Well, I'm already arrested. You're not going to edit that
No,
out.
that's fine.
This development is arrested.
So that's your career. That gives you your career skills, right?
God.
So once you're good with that,
Mm-hmm.
once you've got your 8 career skills, you've chosen 4 of them to get a free rank in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then you get to add contacts. And contacts are important to Shadowrun. Contacts are something you can list on like the back. Again, it's a personal notes thing.
Okay.
Like it's just yes.
What's the highest you can have ranks in
Highest
skill?
ranks in a skill at character creation is 2.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Highest characteristic 5, but that's the cap anyway.
I mean, do we use experience points to buy
You can later, yeah,
later? I thought so.
in just a minute, yeah.
So contacts. Is there some parameter we need to use to pick these, or do we just name people, or?
Contacts, you start with a number of contacts per point of presence that you have.
Nice.
Presence being that. So you got 2. So you have 2 contacts.
Okay. So,
And those contacts have a connection rating, which is like how useful they are, right? Equal to your presence characteristic. And you can divide that across your number of contacts.
so I've got 2 contacts and 2 presents. So that
That'd
means
be 2 contacts of 1 each. Or you could opt to only have 1 contact at a rating of 2.
I see.
That makes sense?
It does.
Here's an example of what rating 1 means. Virtually no social influence, useful only for their knowledge skills. Rating 2 has 1 or 2 friends with some knowledge skills or some minor social influence. Compare that to a 4. Knows several people in a neighborhood, a borough mayor or a gang leader. There you go.
Okay.
And where we're supposed to write that?
Just personal notes or whatever. That's a thing where there wasn't really a blank for it on the sheet. So.
Okay, mine's definitely like a teenage Decker, like this little teenage girl. Just
She's a good kicker.
just gets me info when I ask for it. No questions asked.
I was definitely gonna
Cool.
think about taxi.
So the way that contacts work,
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
you have a certain number of contacts equal to your presence.
Mhm.
That's how many contacts you can
who's
have
that
up to,
Indian
right?
Taxi driver that would always
Then the
drive
connection
around
rating
the
is equal to your presence characteristic divided amongst those
I see.
contacts.
I know what you're talking about.
And then
no, it was Deadpool. It was Deadpool.
they also have a loyalty rating, which is again your presence characteristic divided amongst the
Nice.
contacts. A loyalty 1 is just business. It's a purely mercenary economic relationship. If your loyalty rating for a contact is 4, he's a buddy. There's actual friendship there, or at least solid mutual respect.
Okay.
May I ask where we are in the world of Shadowrun?
You are in Hong Kong
Okay.
in 2076.
I do not know as
Okay.
much about the locals in
Oh.
Hong Kong.
No,
So the
mostly
the
Seattle.
second contact score was loyalty. The first one that you mentioned was
The connection rating.
connection rating. Okay.
So you could say just connection, something, loyalty, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Connection 1, loyalty 1, loyalty 2, whatever.
Well, I've only got 1 contact, so he's going to be connection and loyalty at both.
Up to 2.
Nice. Same I'm going with.
So
I
that
have
so
one
that
presence,
contact
so.
has 1 or 2 friends with some knowledge skills or some minor social influence, and the loyalty rating is irregular. The relationship is still all business, but the parties treat each other with a modicum of mutual respect.
That's what a 2 is.
That's what a 2 is for
Okay.
loyalty, yeah. And basically, if you wanted to you wanted to get in touch with your contact and ask them something like, "I need this" or "I need to know this."
Mm-hmm.
Here's an example. You just want information right? You'd make a skill check. Well, the contact would make the knowledge skill check
Mm-hmm.
to determine if they already know what you need to know,
Uh-huh.
and that would be a difficulty hard as a default.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that would be modified by the loyalty rating. For instance, at loyalty 2, I have to increase the difficulty. If it was loyalty 1, I'd have to upgrade the difficulty. If it was loyalty 4, your buddy is good at it. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
this is stuff that you don't necessarily need to know exactly, but that'll determine. That's how the connection rating and the loyalty rating works in terms of how easy it is to get information and favors out of people.
Okay.
Basically, there are rules for it that are fairly simple that you don't necessarily need to know. I will basically handle all of that. You just tell me what you want. If you want to get in contact with your contact and get them to do something,
Excuse me, this is David.
Experience points is at 5, 10, 15 for a career, and then 10, 15.
it should be. Let me take a look. Here.
If it's like Star Wars.
I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So as you're spending experience, ranks and skills are 5 times the purchased rank.
Yeah.
Each rank must be purchased sequentially. Non-career skills cost an additional 5 experience points. Talents are 5 times the talents tier, right? And then characteristics are 10 times the purchased rating and experience.
Since I don't have a computer in front of me, I might not get any talents. Since I'm big.
Not really, no. I mean, you have access to, like, you can only get tier 1 talents, right? Because you probably can't spend enough to get 2 tier 1 talents, so you can also get a tier 2. Remember how the pyramid works? So, the way that Genesys' talents work is that you have
Yeah, I
to build a
remember.
pyramid, yeah. So, and all those are in the document. I can probably can just hand over the iPad to you. You can just take a look. It has a little table of here's the tier 1 talents, including the ones from the Genesys book. So all you have to do is just look through and pick. So it's okay.
It's also easy just to get skills.
And you don't necessarily have to name those contacts right now unless you want to. Just give a rough idea of what they do, right? I have like sample contacts for like a bartender, a blogger, a club owner, a corporate manager, a gambler, a mechanic, a janitor, paramed.
A stripper.
I do actually, yeah, stripper, in there, street kid, talent scout, technician, taxi driver. So
Mine's basically street kid. Street kid decorator.
So that's So all I have to do, if I want to use that contact, if you want to use that contact, all I have to do is look it up and go, okay, the street kid has this
Set of
stuff.
skills.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's
You
figure
probably
out.
want to lean more towards a decker than a street kid. I'm guessing they're more stealth and subterfuge.
Street kids are just cool. They're annoying and cool.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mechanically speaking,
Mechanically speaking.
narratively speaking,
I just have like
especially in like Hong Kong, I could
So
see.
can we just
Yeah.
tell you what they do and you
'Cause-
come up with the proper...
Yeah.
roleplay. They went to Japan, and there's this one kid who's in a gang. There's a kid gang that have a bunch of Uzis and ride around in scooters. One of them's a decker, but she's like 13, so that's basically the character I was remembering. But a friend got hit by a bicycle by one of their mopeds because the troll threw it at them and as like a projectile. As you do as a troll, you just hurl scooters at kids that are running away. Okay, so that's
So how many you get to pick one talent?
You can probably pick as many as you can afford.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, they cost experience points. So
Okay. Cool.
I don't know
Keep that in mind.
what tier 1's cost in tier 2?
It's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
It cost
So
5.
they're five
So
for
tier
tier 1.
ones cost 5.
And to get a tier 2, you need 2 tier 1s.
Yeah.
So that's going to cost you 20 points.
Pyramid.
Ugh, I think
8
I'd
per
rather.
color.
I don't know. I think I might rather bump up my attributes. We'll see.
Attributes or skillio.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, I need to.
Hi, buddy.
60.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Okay, tier 1.
15.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Well, okay. Well, let's think about. I was having the conversation with Virgil earlier, and it's unlikely that even at this good a deal, the money for this is going to materialize suddenly. Certainly not for the end of the year.
Okay, what else we got?
But okay. Well, yeah. I love the sound of this. Yeah, I love the sound of this. We'll have to make money happen, but sometimes you can do things.
So what are some of the
It'd be interesting.
talents?
There's a lot of them.
I know.
There are.
Yeah, there are.
Solar
Looking
powered.
at 'em.
You get to add a boost die to perception checks when it is between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Fox style.
I've got that one.
I mean-
willpower for charisma.
For both the
I-
name and the effect.
I read that and was like, well, there's one of Stephen's.
Yep. I already got one in coercion because I'm an orc. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a brawn of 3. So
Yeah.
it was gonna
It just
happen.
keeps making more and more sense the more you
Well,
talk.
I need to go, but
I can't not.
thank you for taking care of both of those things. And yep. Good. Okay.
Hi, buddy. No, I'm taking my jacket off. There's no reason to be excited. I'm gonna put it on the couch. Go lay on it and be quiet. Sounds
He's
great.
been a good boy today.
He has been. He's been pretty quiet. Gonna jinx it and ruin it all.
Yeah.
At least compared to the last month.
Right? Well, last night. Last night was pretty bad.
He just would not.
He just didn't stop whining. It was awful.
Cool. Yeah.
We about chucked him outside. Like, we're so done with it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice. Here you go. Do you want a really cheap one that could be fun?
What is
Well,
it?
don't tell Rachel.
Add a boost die to all skill checks while intoxicated.
Oh, wow.
Party animal.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there is a setback die associated with
Yes.
that.
But
Still sounds fun.
But that does sound fun.
Yeah.
Can't shoot straight until I've had a pint.
It's fantastic.
I have 25 left. So I
Yeah.
might do like if I get a tier 2,
Hmm.
that'd be 20.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Oh.
Goes with the theme.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So
Yeah. Thanks much. Talk to you soon. Bye. That boy is way too smart. He's a smart guy.
Yep.
Yeah, the telex down in the dressing room just fried.
Oh. Again? Already?
Yeah, but what he's gonna do and which is a great thing. There's a telex just like it in the box office, which
Yeah.
is now the bar, which no one ever uses.
Yeah.
So I pulled the telex out of there, and he's putting it in the dressing room and putting the bad one in the bar to cover up the hole.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he was just calling to let me know, and also to make sure that.
Forewarn.
Well, Kaz, you know Kaz?
Mhm,
Yeah,
I
Kaz is
do.
not going to like it.
Well,
Because
options.
yeah, exactly. That's why I said just tell Kaz to call me, because she will bawl him out because she thinks of him as a 14-year-old boy, which is probably about how old she was when she met him.
But I assume he's not anymore.
No, he's 18 now.
Yep.
And like, don't argue with Kaz. Just tell Kaz to call me.
Yep.
I'll talk to Kaz.
Kaz is a strong-willed woman.
She is. I
recognize
think
one of
the
my
world
own.
of
It's
Kaz.
fine.
But and sometimes I think David expects her to react more strongly than she does.
Yeah.
Kaz is also a reasonable human being, and I don't
She
think
is.
she'd freak out about
Yeah,
that.
she's.
I think you're the finest I've ever known, but I cannot in any way understand what you want or give it to you.
Everything. He wants everything.
If I thought that petting your head would make you happy, I would do it, but I know that's not what you want from me. I think you're hoping for popcorn.
That sounds like a yes.
That is, do not toy with me, food monkey. Give
Give me
me
the popcorn.
the popcorn.
Unfortunately, the popcorn has been decimated, my dear fellow.
She looked at you, like, oh.
Somebody
the main
said
one
it.
said something.
The one
Somebody's
who
talking
feeds
about
me.
it.
The main one said something. My daughter has pointed out to me that dogs do not use the term food monkey.
That's a cat term?
That is, well, that's, I work at this farm, and sort of, I imagine that that's how all the farm animals think of me.
Sure.
You are the creature who brings the food.
Right,
The
exactly. He's the food monkey.
You are
And,
most
yes.
closely related to a monkey.
Exactly.
So, yeah. that's what
Everyone
it
at the
is.
farm, I am more closely related to the monkey than any of, and I've got thumbs, and, yeah. So, they have a troubled relationship with food monkeys. Like, one day I took the cattle some feed, which came from the corn crib, which is a little bit dark. Took it out there, I dumped it in, and that's when I realized that there was chicken feed mixed in with the cattle feed, because they look very similar except the color is a little different. And it was like Neapolitan cattle feed, which chicken feed will literally kill cows. So I was like, just started waving my hands. The cows are all like, "Food monkey's lost his mind! Look out!" I like basically
No,
threw
don't
myself
eat
over
this.
the trough, and I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
"Somebody get the cows out of here!" Because before I came to work there, someone accidentally gave them chicken feed instead of cattle feed, because they look very similar.
Yeah.
And the only reason I noticed was because I had some cattle feed and some chicken feed in the same thing, because I finished out one bag and there wasn't quite enough, and so I poured some more in.
Yeah.
And so I could see
The
that's not
differences.
right.
Yeah.
And it had almost killed one of the steers. But he managed to survive. But he was never quite right after that. Anyway,
Is she ready for bed?
thank you for your indulgence, ladies
No.
and gentlemen. I
She's
appreciate that.
she's has to brush her teeth and everything. So it'll be another hour and a half.
Can
Wow, it started already?
Are you gonna have to go all like sterned out on her again?
My wife gripes at my daughter for the same
the
thing.
exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
You're
that's
still in the bathroom? It's been an hour since you said you were going to bed. Mama!
Just go all sterned out on her. She listens to you better.
Occasionally I have to do that. I try to use that sparingly because I don't want it to lose its effectiveness. When I put on the big mean man voice.
we've got metatype. We did our
Just makes her
careers.
cry.
You got your contacts.
Yeah.
Now you get to invest those experience points. That you got. You remember, based on your metatype, you started with a certain amount of experience points.
Yes.
Now you can use those to buy increases in. You can buy ranks and skills.
Okay.
You can purchase talents, which are like special
Merits.
abilities that you can have. No, not
Nice
merits.
little boots.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Talents, huh?
There's a third sheet.
Yes. Oh, I see.
Talents.
Talent.
Or you can spend a lot of experience to try to increase your characteristics, like brawn, intellect.
Which is super useful.
And what, you can only do that at the start of the game?
Yes.
You can only do that at the start of the game.
Okay,
Yep.
so how much
Otherwise, you end up buying it through, like,
Your
merits or something?
or
Talents?
through the talents.
Talents may give you an increase.
Increase to it.
so how much does all of these?
So what do you mean exactly how much it costs?
I was, hoping to bump up my cunning or agility
To what?
to 3.
That would
So
cost 30 experience points.
It's whatever it
Holy
is
mackerel,
times 10.
that is
The
expensive.
rank
Whatever
that
you
you
want
want to
to
buy times 10.
And you have to buy each rank.
So you couldn't just skip directly to 5.
No, I understand.
So
I
if
don't
you have
want
a
to,
1 and you want to get it to 3, you have to buy 2.
No, I have 2.
So that would be 20 and
So
then
it cost
30
you
would be
50.
50. Exactly.
So it'd be 60 to bump up 2 of mine,
Yes.
which is what I was hoping to do.
It provided you're buying each one of them at 3.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. That'd be
Nice
60.
to have better agility.
So how much does buying a rank in something cost? If
A
you're going
rank and a
from 1 to
skill
2?
A rank and a skill
1 to 2
is
is 20.
a rank and a skill is 5 times the rank that you're purchasing.
Okay, so
However,
Skill.
if it's a non-career skill, there's a 5 experience point kind of tax on that.
So an extra 5 after multiplying.
Exactly. And again, you have to
Nice.
purchase each rank sequentially, so you can't just jump from one rank to 3. Not that you could do this at character creation anyway, because the limit's 2.
Okay.
Right?
And how about talents? How do we?
Talents cost us 5 times the tier that they're at, right? But you can see there's a little thing right there.
Yeah.
and we
5
can only
experience,
get tier
10
1 right
experience.
now, right?
And
No, you can
do talents have to be
You
bought
get
at the beginning of the game, or can they be bought later?
Talents can be bought at any point.
Okay.
If you have experience
They're
points,
like
you can
feats or
purchase them.
something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have
Alright.
experience points to spend on talents, obviously not in the middle of the session, but like at some point you can be like, okay, I want to buy this talent. Do you have experience points for it? Great, you got it.
Gotcha.
And the way that the talents work is like building a pyramid or building a brick wall, right? In order to have 1 tier 2 talent, you got to have at least 2 tier 1.
Okay.
Put the bricks down, and then you can put that brick up there.
Okay.
If you wanted
Always must
2
be support.
tier 2 talents, you'd have to have 1, 2, 3 tier 1 talent.
Gotcha.
That make sense?
Yep, that does make sense.
Yeah.
get it to tier 3, you need 2 tier 2.
And 3 tier 1.
And not
Which
that we'll ever
means you need
get
Exactly.
to
2
this,
tier
but
3.
like, so
That just faded in.
do the talents have to be related?
No.
Okay, so any 2 tier 1 talents will support a tier 2 talent.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the tier 2
the
talent is the
system.
combat talent, and the tier 1 talent are both like
Could be anything.
personal things
Yeah.
that would still work. Okay.
Basically, it's just a leveling. It's a game balancing thing where like you can't just buy a bunch of tier 4, tier 5 talents. You have to
Just immediate.
work your way up. Right.
You have a list of those
Gotcha.
ones.
Of tier 1 talents.
Yeah.
So
You'll have to look at
Yeah, I've been waiting.
Robert's.
what is a good rank in a
I could-
skill? I mean, I don't
doesn't
know
matter.
what having a 1 in a skill does. for
2,
me.
Remember,
2 is a valid
rank-
level of competency.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like everything. 2 is kind of your normal person.
Somebody who's like doing it for a living. Yeah.
And remember that a rank is changing one of these green into a yellow.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So
However-
every rank changes a green to a yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if you had 2 ranks, 2 of the greens would become yellows,
I see. Right,
making
of
it more
course.
likely for you to succeed in that task.
I see.
In
Now,
the
mind
weird-
you, things get complicated when you have like your agility. So, if you have that agility of 1
Mhm.
and you put 2 skill points into, say, like
2
firearms,
ranks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Into your firearms, which would use agility, then your skill, because that is the higher number, determines the number of green die.
Okay.
It basically flips it, and
My
your
agility would
characteristic
cause
then causes
The
the
upgrades.
1 to
flip.
upgrade.
I
Yep.
see.
So it flips it on its head with that, but often that doesn't happen.
Gotcha.
More often than not, your characteristics will be your baseline.
In this, another way to look at it is you have 1 green for your agility, and then it's upgraded, and when you upgrade it again, you get a green. So if you buy a destiny point and you have just a yellow or 2 yellows, you'll buy a green instead of another yellow.
That's just there are different ways of looking at it. It's the same thing, but that
Okay.
So if you only have yellows and you buy with the story point, you up an upgrade to your dice pool. Instead of adding another yellow, you add a green.
Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to you on that.
It's most of it'll. Make
these are
sense,
don't worry about it. That's like situational
Yeah, it's
stuff.
very
right?
situational.
Yeah.
So these talents, I'm assuming there's a list of them.
Yes, there is.
Somewhere.
In the document,
and
in the Shadowrun
I will
document,
pass you mine
Oh,
since
did you
I've
send
got
us
the
a
ones.
Shadowrun document and I missed it?
it is in the. Again, it might be difficult to read on your phone, but it is. It's in
it
the.
is.
Thank you.
It's in the description for the on the Facebook event page.
Yeah, I've seen where you've
Yeah.
done that before. I just
So,
didn't think about it.
All you got to do is, luckily, this document has the generic talents from the Genesis book and the Shadowrun specific ones listed, all in the one thing. So there are these little like like every talent or feat thing you've ever seen. There's like a table with like a summary of the talent and like what the name of it is, and then later there's a description of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you want to spend your experience points on that, you can just go through the talent list and go, okay, I want that. That costs how much? It's tier 1, so it's 5 experience points, and I get this.
Are you using your book just for like the
For
general
this?
talents?
I mean, you mean am I using it currently right now? No, you're more than welcome to take a look at it. Yeah. It won't give you the Shadowrun specific ones, but you'll get.
I mean, I feel like most of the ones I picked weren't Shadowrun specific. Since there's so many, it gives you a good start.
Yeah.
They're in there
Somewhere. Look at the.
This is cool.
Look at the table of contents.
I like how they're just like little tweaks to how the game is played. Kind of like what Pathfinder kind of wanted feats to be.
Mm-hmm.
Create a talent.
Okay, this talent says remove setback dice from guarded stance and +1 melee defense. So what exactly does that mean?
So a guarded stance is like, it's a movement action that you can take. Guarded stance, you gain 1 melee defense, but you have to add a setback die to any of your combat checks.
So if you have this feat, you don't have to add that. You can go into a guarded stance, and you don't have to, and you get 2 instead of just the 1.
Right.
Obviously going to be a ton of these, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm
that
going
is,
to
of course,
despair if I really
a
look at
move
this.
action. So it's a maneuver.
You want
right?
to kind
So
of hunt
you
the
can only do
ones
one of those
down
per
that
turn.
feel like they build
So you
your
couldn't move,
character up.
but you could.
Yeah.
But since it's a melee only thing, you're probably not going to move anyway.
And then, what is it? Ranked means you can take it more than once.
Oh, in terms of the talents, yeah, you can take it multiple times.
Not
So-
ranked means you just take it once and
You just take it
then-
once.
Good. So for something like Grit, where it's ranked, it increases your strain threshold by 1 every time you buy it, and you're always
Meaning
buying
it would move
it
me
at,
up to 10.
Yeah, it'd move you up to 10. You could then pay another 5, I believe. I think you just pay the same price over and over to get another rank. And I'm sure it stops at maybe like a 5 or something. They often have a cap to them, but if you just want to like boost strain, you could grab Grit. It just depends on what you want to do.
My strain's not that high.
Do you have to buy it at rank 2 when you buy it again?
I do.
I think that's
Maybe?
I think
I don't
that's
know,
the way
personally.
they did it
Okay.
for Genesis. Is like if you buy it again, it'll become rank 2, then rank 3,
Okay, that would make sense.
or like I'm sorry, tier.
Right.
Tier 2, then 3, then 4, then 5.
So that you can't buy them like you can't buy it at tier 1 twice
Five times, yeah.
Yeah.
at super cheap to get that same benefit. I think is the way they did it with ranked.
That would make sense.
I'm
gotta
probably
decide if I wanna-
overspending on these things. So, I mean, looking at this, if I'm going to be a tank, do I need a higher strain? Is that going to be a serious problem for me? Or should I spend my
Probably
points
not.
elsewhere?
Your wounds are going to cover you for the most part.
Okay.
If you end up with abilities where it's like, I
Like
grabbed
using
parry.
strain?
Yeah,
Okay.
parry lets me effectively reduce some of the damage I'm taking and turn it into strain.
I see.
So it depends on how you build.
So
but
maybe I shouldn't build with strain in mind. I should
just take the hits and
Yeah.
build around that.
yeah, because I'm sort of a take the hits kind of guy. I mean, I've already got challenge as one of my skills.
So tough one would be enough.
What's that? Toughened? Toughened, okay.
Yeah.
Talent toughened.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives
That's
you
good to
+2 to your wound threshold.
Oh, nice. I've got durable and initiate of pain, which I think are going to be good for me.
Those just sound fun, right?
The initiate of pain, I get to add a blue die to combat and discipline checks when I'm hurt.
Nice.
Exactly. So yeah.
So once someone hurts
planning
me,
on
I'm
getting
even
hit.
better at fighting. I'm even better fighter
Exactly.
when someone hurts me. Let's see.
Probably gonna take crack shot.
What's that one do?
You can only shoot foes in the crack.
Ooh, that's rough.
Opponent's cover does not impose setback die on your ranged attacks.
Nice.
I took that and study
You can
nerves.
curve the bullet like in the movie Wanted.
Study nerves removes setback die from cool and skullduggery checks.
Oh, very nice.
Since I'm playing that kind of
Tough.
character,
Smooth and ready to roll.
I figure being able to shoot things is probably more helpful than like not being imposed by darkness or
Yeah.
all
Well,
different terrains type thing.
Situational, right? Depends.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking a chance here because I usually go with the other ones, and then I end up wishing I'd taken.
Now,
this
obviously,
one.
since you're in Hong Kong, you're in an urban environment.
Yep.
So
Different expectations.
create your character accordingly. Right.
Sure.
If your character is suddenly really good at like underwater stuff, it's not really the setting for that.
There's a good amount of water in Hong Kong. However,
You should probably not be in it.
yes.
You could run over by like
I forgot what durable
a
is.
skip or a junk barge or something.
Oh.
Piercing spell is tempting. It'll let you ignore soak value when casting spells, but I imagine that since it's ranked, it's you ignore 1 for first rank. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
That would make. I mean, it could be multiples of 2, but I would
But
assume.
you have to
one.
look at the
Yeah, the
description.
details.
It doesn't really say in the description.
No, it doesn't. Well, then it would be you number of
Ranks.
Number of
ranks of soak. Yeah. Based on how many times you've taken it.
Do I want to boost agility?
Alright, so I should really be able to shoot things, theoretically. I had to pick one thing to put a second rank in, and I was like, I probably ought to be able to shoot people.
I should probably stop buying talents.
I feel like I should just stay on brand.
Yeah, you should get a handful of talents, like 2 or 3 maybe.
Is 4 too many?
No, I don't think so. You started with 110 experience points, didn't you? Or is it
I started with 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So then you could probably pump.
Two.
You can probably put 2 ranks in something and call it a day, or
Yeah.
you know.
Since you're
In
more
skills.
focused, I wouldn't worry as much about it. If you do go to skills and you find, I kind of wish, then yeah, maybe. But
See, I went
I
ahead and
think
bumped
you'll
up
be
my
okay
attributes
as
because
is.
you don't get another chance to do it. So
it's not a bad idea sometimes.
if we come back to it, I thought it might be a good thing to have more than a 2 and everything.
To be prepped and ready.
So I've got
I think I'm gonna
60
lean
points
into
now.
Street Samurai.
14, 15, 20. I've got 60 points now, right?
45.
Because you got 4 talents, 5,
5
10,
each.
15,
5
20.
each, that's 20.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So I'm understanding that. Okay. I could buy 1 more in agility. How much does 1 point? It's going to cost me 20. Okay.
It's 10 times the rank that you're getting it
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
So if I go to rank 2 in agility, because I
20.
don't want to be clumsy if I'm trying to use firearms.
Right.
It's not a bad
So
idea.
let me see what happens here. I'm getting down to 40 experience points for
yeah.
my skills. We'll see how this is working. I may have to drop one of these talents. Don't only get me 5. I don't know. We'll see.
I need to just lean
This is a
heavier
one-shot
into-
anyway, right?
Well, we may go back
Maybe.
to this depending on if it plays well. I was just very excited about it because I've always wanted to do and or play Shadowrun,
If
but
this
not
works,
with.
I've got like 2 games prepped and ready to go. Already.
Good, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can be a player too.
I would love to.
Because I mostly really want to run the second one.
What is pool for skills?
Pool is just basically means you can jot down either in symbols or in numbers like your pool based on
Oh, I see.
your
Based on my-
characteristic and skill ranks.
Right, gotcha.
So
Okay.
all you have to do is it's like, recording a modifier, right? A total modifier. You can just look at it and go, okay, my agility's 2, I got a rank in piloting, so it's going to be 1 green, 1 yellow. So I would just put 1G, 1Y or something in that. And so every time I look at piloting, I'll go, I know exactly what to take. Instead of having to, do the conversion, I guess, every time. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that it's a complicated conversion, but it's easier just to look at the skill and go, oh, that's my pool. I'll take those.
So depending on the Shadowrun ones, I'll have 10 XP left.
All right, we're good.
I keep trying to do like a blade and gun, and I'm like, no, just stick to the blade.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I forgot
Like
what
I put
the
one
resilience skill does for me. You told me and I forgot.
Resilience
Plus
is
my
like
career
shrugging off
points
pain
in
and
melee, but
resisting
I put 2 in my
toxins
head.
and going without sleeping and it's that sort of thing.
Okay.
Think of it like Constitution.
Okay, I'm done with this if somebody else needs it.
Probably let's look at that.
About
Shadowrun talents.
See which ones are actually Shadowrun ones. I'm sure some of the magic ones might be.
I mean, obviously, yeah. I don't know if there's like. I don't think it calls out specifically which ones are.
It doesn't, but
It's just
I
a
can
big
tell.
list of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was one second level tier I wanted, so I had to find 2 first level tier I
Sure.
wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, it wasn't hard. I picked Fox Style and Grit.
Yeah, a whole bunch of coercion.
Grit's always good.
Well, I'm a mage, so yeah.
You're gonna need it because you're gonna want to make spell checks. Yeah.
So this does not say if it's passive or active.
Okay.
Crack shot. Opponent's cover does not impose setback dice on
That's
your range.
passive.
That's probably passive.
That's
right?
passive.
There's some that are probably active. That
Yeah. The difference between a passive and an active talent is
You have to activate it.
some
You
talents
just-
you have to activate.
So you just have a good
Oh.
brawn?
like
Is that why you went with Fox style?
I have a
trying to
hamstring shot
understand
which
the
costs an
decision.
action,
I'm
but there are
upgrading
some that are
yes.
incidental,
Ah,
which
okay.
So,
doesn't mean they
My
don't
character
really
is
cost
like
anything, but you have to actually
magic
activate them on your
and
turn.
melee.
You have to say you're doing it. It's not just
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that's just assumed, like a passive talent.
Oh, I
Was
see.
it the tier 2
So
one
like
you're
my
looking at
challenge
where you get
talent,
to
I'm
add
gonna
like
have
your
to do
melee
that.
to
Yeah, it's
magic?
yeah. You have to
Or is that a
activate
tier
it,
1
right?
by
Yeah.
itself?
I want
No,
him
it's
to attack
Krang
me.
styles.
Yeah, it's
which
Exactly.
not always
Get
on.
plus 1.
It's not always
uh,
on. I mean, that's pretty simple. And most of the talents, based on what they
melee
do,
defense
you can kind of
and
suss out
minimum
already.
Imagine
like-
durable,
Dice
initiative,
for
pain, and
yard
toughen. They're
stance.
all
Those are all
just
passive.
Oh, nice.
passive.
Okay.
They're always going.
What was
Would
it
also be
looking at
nice
then?
to see which ones actually cost an action. Like my hamstring shot costs the action.
It was magic strike or magical
Instead of being,
strike.
like,
You
incidental.
get to add a boost to brawn or
which
melee
means
combat
you just
checks.
do it. You just have
What's
to
going to be
actually
better
roll it
for
out.
me?
That's what I saw.
Heavy or light ranged? Is heavy something that I'm not going to be carrying around ever?
No, you'll probably be carrying it around. Imagine this is like a liberal or like libertarian paradise when it comes to guns.
Okay.
Like almost everybody is carrying heat of some sort,
Okay.
and it takes some real serious weaponry before people are like, whoa, hey there. But for most of the time, it's like, okay, you might be carrying a minigun around. I'm gonna need to see your papers. Okay, you got papers? All right, you're free to go.
Okay.
Like,
Assault rifles use ranged heavy. Shotguns use ranged heavy.
oh, I see. So
Yeah.
that's not like.
Rifles use ranged
Oh,
heavy.
okay. Gotcha. All right. I better have another
Ranged
range.
light is the place of like submachine guns, pistols, that sort of thing.
Right.
I think she's ready for bed.
What tier is Magical Strike? Just wondering.
tier 1.
Tier 1?
Yeah,
I'm-
it's
I
a
like the-
ranked. It's a ranked one. So theoretically, you can then hit rank 2 of it and add 2 boost die.
I think I'll pick that up too.
That's for melee.
Yep, adds to brawl or melee combat checks. And I'm assuming the requirement for it is you need to be magical.
Yeah, probably.
Yep, that would be my
Alright.
guess.
My last thing I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 5 points left to spend. We're going to put them in athletics or a ranged light. I've got 2 on all of my other skills, which is the max, right?
Well, now
So,
here's the
got
problem.
Ranged heavy. Is there a problem? Or have I done something wrong?
Well, the catch is that if you want to buy a 1 up to a 2, that's going to cost you 10.
Oh, it's 5 times the total
Yep.
rank. I forgot.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Quick, redo the math.
All right. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So,
You should have, as a troll with like 80 experience, I'd expect you to have maybe like 2 or 3 in it at 2, unless you're very focused. Maybe more. I don't know, I'm kind of like mentally guesstimating some of these.
So, let's see, that's 25.
let's see. I'm sorry, say that again. I was counting in my head. I was trying to undo what I'd done.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So I missed
so
what you said.
it's the rank that you want, or the.
Oh no, that I got. You
next
said
rank
something
up.
about as a troll you something like that.
I guess I would expect with the amount of points you've got, and still like keeping it a somewhat well-rounded character, you'd end up with maybe like 2 or 3 skills,
At 2?
which you've got 2 in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and make those kind of like, this is what I want to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I'm going coercion and melee.
Now remember, if they're not a career skills, there's a 5 experience
I'm
point
not
extra.
buying anything that's not a career skill.
That's wise. I mean, yeah.
And yeah, this guy is not particularly well rounded.
Well, no, I mean, he does a handful of jobs really well.
It's a troll.
That's what
I'm
you
a
want.
troll. I'm a troll. I'm glad trolls don't have a 1 intellect. I feel a little feel a little better about that. Okay, so let's see. What's the difference between melee and brawl?
Brawl is unarmed.
Okay.
Melee covers everything with
knives and swords.
knives,
and...
swords, sticks, whatever.
Gotcha.
My
Okay.
God.
Okay.
Because I'm
so
doing
I
Street
should have
Samurai. I
2
apparently
in
have to have
brawl.
it.
That drops me down to 20.
If you're playing Genesys in like a fantasy setting, then like you can. The way that it works is that the melee skill can become now like, there could be like sub-types of the melee skill.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But because this is a modern setting, ranged is more important of a distinction than distinction between melee. You know what I mean? Because guns are everywhere.
Proliferation of
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, I think this mongoose still needs a little bit more description. Combat checks against you add setbacks. Add boost against some opponents.
You'll have to find the
So,
like actual description for those.
So how's damage work? Are my fists going to do the same amount of damage as a human's fist?
Your fists
No.
do your brawn in damage.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So
you're
maybe
guaranteed
spending
to
a lot
do-
of points in brawl might not be the thing.
It depends on if you're going to get up close and personal and use your fists all the time.
Well, I'm trying to decide if I want to do melee or brawl. I need to choose.
I think for you, melee would probably be
I
better.
think melee is usually weapon
Brawn
damage
plus weapon damage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
brawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You'll get a melee weapon it'll say for damage like +3. What that means is it's your brawn plus that number in
Okay.
damage.
Yep.
In addition to the successes you roll.
Right.
Say.
So you will be
Okay.
doing a lot
I
of
got
damage.
5 experience
with
points
me.
left, and I can't spend it on anything except
Alright.
another trade.
So,
You can bank
You
it.
can just keep it. Yeah.
yeah.
Always an option.
You can use it later.
I'm glad you pointed that out to me. Thank you.
Oh yeah. This
I know there's
there's nothing
something
worse than
else.
realizing that.
There are
halfway through
talents
that
and stuff like that
cheated.
you can take, skills and stuff like that you can bump up to make unarmed combat more deadly than using a melee weapon, but
And I know
it requires some investment. Yeah.
Shadowrun will add in things like shot gauntlets, where
Yeah.
you're using unarmed strikes, but when you hit, you're like
Stunning
literally
them.
tasering. them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So there's some back and forth. What are you doing, dog?
Have you lost your
And there are some instances
you
where
lost your
you're not
time
allowed to
mind.
take your weapons in places.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're
Your
such a
weapons
good
might get
boy,
checked
I
at
like
the door.
I'm not chasing you around right now. Yeah.
It's not happening.
No,
No,
Mistress Chesney.
my personal health penguin.
it's not happening.
All right.
So let me know when everybody's
I'm skilled.
spent their experience
I've
points.
skilled, tiered, and agility'd up.
Done.
Cool. Everybody?
Should
Good.
be.
Well, you've got your list there.
Yeah.
Robert, are you done with your experience points?
I don't want to look through the list again, I guess.
Bank it for
just
now.
save the
Here.
5 XP. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Now, your derived attributes, which are like wound threshold, strain threshold, you should already have those because you got a certain amount based on your metatype, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, plus I've got a +2 because I'm toughened.
There you go. Yeah, see, that's why those thresholds change. That's why you got to make
need
sure
to
that
go
those are
back to
updated.
Strain.
Your defense for melee and ranged starts at 0 because that gets modified by armor that you might buy.
Okay.
It's rarer to get numbers in defense compared to getting just more soak.
Yep.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Because what defense does is every time that a person tries to attack you, they have to add a certain amount of setback die. So it makes it harder to even hit.
Okay.
Your soak rating, you started with a 1 because of your troll thing. Add your brawn onto that.
Okay.
That's what your soak is.
And you'll add armor on top of that.
And your armor will be on top of that as well. For everyone else, it's just brawn.
Okay.
So whatever your brawn number is, that's your default soak number.
Nice.
I think I'm pretty soaky.
That's your whole thing. That's your whole...
Yes, I am the soak man.
That's why Braun is pretty strong.
Cuckoo.
That's why I usually
Well, we've
love
both
playing
got tusks, so
melee
who's the
in
one?
Genesis.
What was that?
It's usually why I love playing melee in Genesis. That and most crit ratings for the weapons are 2 for melee, and so you proc
You're
crit a
all
lot,
the time. Yeah.
and that's really fun.
So what do we got
We
next?
both got tusks.
So
Oh, you're
now
out.
we buy stuff, right?
Nice.
Not yet.
Smaller.
Not yet.
Okay, so you've got your soak ratings. It's brawn plus any extras that you get for your metatype armor. And that'll change once you get some
Armor.
armor on you. Your wound threshold, your strain threshold, defense starts at 0. Again, that gets modified by armor depending on.
And there's escape. which I think
There's
is
also
like the
escape.
Essence,
It's,
right?
it's essence. Now, essence is vital to Shadowrun because the more tech you put in your body, the less capable you are of magic.
Yep.
And your essence is a sort of a mechanical rating of that, right?
Does it start at 6?
No, it does not.
Oh, okay. So they're using a different scale.
Your essence
Thankfully.
starts according to, and I'm looking for the exact number here. There are no bookmarks in the document, so it takes a little while to find.
No hyperlinks. I'm at the index, or the table of contents, if there's something I can give you a page number for.
I'm just looking for
I forgot toughen was a thing. I just went ahead and took that.
232.
It's 2 HP.
Yeah.
Let me go find 232.
That's not a bad idea.
So it'll be at
Let's throw
13.
gunnery
13.
out and get
Essence is equal to your brawn.
Oh my.
Okay.
Really?
I'm glad I bumped
That's
that
weird.
up.
I'm all full of. I'm
It's body. It makes sense. It's a physical representation.
full of essence.
I'll agree.
Who would've
It's
thought?
weird.
So what is
Because
coordination?
you can get
The scale of
cybernetics that
coordination.
increase your
Coordination
brawn,
is
right?
for like,
Yes.
let's say you
However,
wanted to
I'm
swing
assuming
across on a
that-
rope,
that it
walk along a
doesn't,
narrow
yes.
surface.
Or that
Oh,
those
that
are
sort of
thing.
more
I'm
expensive
wondering if I
in
should
terms of essence.
change my
to
gunnery skill.
counteract that
Oh, I can't change
naturally.
gunnery skill because it comes with being a troll.
Well,
You're
it
so
comes with
big,
being a
these are
tank.
just your weapons.
Right.
Oh, because
Yeah.
being a tank, right?
Yeah.
I didn't put anything into gunnery.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're really not going to run into it necessarily a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to have your personal weapons, right? But,
It's fun when you do, but
Just carry them around like a Vulcan cannon.
we will call you Raven.
Now, the way that Essence works is that every time you upgrade, you put cyberware inside you, bioware, whatever. That subtracts, that costs a certain amount of essence.
Okay.
And the more essence you spend on cyberware, bioware, that sort of thing, the worse you are at magic.
Okay. I don't think that's really an issue for me.
That won't be an issue for you.
Yep.
But since you have a high brawn cap, you can put in, if you want to, you spend the money on it, cool cyberware stuff, because you got a lot of
Chrome to the
essence.
gills.
Could do that.
You can get like
That's what I'm going for.
you can get cyber eyes. You can get sound select filters on your ears. You
I
know,
need some dermal weave.
breast implants if you wish.
And
I mean, it doubles. It's
Fiber optic hair.
it's
Ooh,
durable
those are
armor,
cool.
but it's also breast implants.
You can get guns like cyber guns, like
Built into-
implanted into your arm, so you always have something on you. Yeah.
Yep. The
That's
classic
the-
is you get the Wolverine-esque razor claws built into your hands.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who's
Because
So
those
you're
are totally
always armed.
possible in real
Yeah,
life.
who's doing
exactly.
that guy from Final Fantasy VII?
There's absolutely no reason to think those wouldn't work.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Except for, basic human physiology.
I'm a troll. It's different for us.
In this case, they just lop your arm off and give you a mechanical one.
So
it's been designed to do it.
I see.
if you really wanted to build it that way, you could be really good at magic and a troll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trolls are actually decent at magic.
Because of their essence.
In this,
Really?
No, I mean,
in this system, yeah.
Yeah. Well, even in the base, they're still renowned for it. Mechanically, they might not be as good as some of your other choices, but like a troll shaman is kind of standard.
Yeah.
Because it's like the usual of geek the mage isn't an option when it's a troll.
Right.
Because
Kill
it
that mage
takes
so
a while.
easily. Yeah.
You're chewing on that mage for a while.
Not going down without a fight.
Very gristly mage.
Okay. So
Excuse me.
the next thing to do is this is the part where we roll randomly.
Oh, really?
Fun stuff.
Oh no.
Let's do it.
Rachel, our time has come.
What
Now-
kind of dice do we need?
Now, normally you're going to need a
Percentile.
D percentile, yeah, D100. Now, normally in Genesis, you select a series of motivational stuff, like you have a strength, you have a flaw, you have a fear, and that sort of thing. Instead, in this system, you get a free merit and a free flaw based on your rolling result, and that'll give you like a special bonus and knock, respectively.
Okay.
So do we only need 1 D100 or 2 D100?
You'll need to do a percentage roll.
But just
Multiple
once?
times.
You get to roll that twice.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You'll roll once for a merit and once for a flaw.
I'm
Alright.
combining them into a single roll.
Here we go.
So 4 dice.
53.
So that's for your merit. 53.
Sure.
You have a lead belly.
Nice.
Okay.
Just
Drink whatever you like.
drink radiation.
What that means is that you're highly resistant to most poisons and toxins.
Cool.
You gain a boost
die.
die, a blue die, on all resilience checks to resist those things.
Okay.
Poisons and toxins.
I got a 70 on
For your
merit.
merit?
Die to resist.
You have
Poisons.
9 lives.
Oh, that sounds good.
You're a cat.
If your character would die from reaching twice your wound threshold, you can, as an incidental, spend a story point and be brought back to your maximum wound threshold
Whoa.
and recover from the near-death experience. You can only do that once per session.
That's handy for someone with a low body, right? Or brawn, rather.
However, if it happens again during the session,
You're
you're
dizzy.
screwed.
Yeah.
36?
36. You're an excellent liar.
I like it.
Deception for you is a career skill.
Why not?
97.
97.
I'll have to work on that later.
You are well grounded.
Change it up.
I've already rolled.
Add
Okay,
a
get
boost
36.
die to
34.
all skill checks
of
to
course,
resist
yeah, could be.
fear.
Nice.
Did they
I mean, that
modify
makes
it, or did they
sense
just kind
for
of
an
round it?
assassin.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
Boost.
am I also an excellent liar? My merit roll was 34.
34. No, you're an Eagle Scout.
Hey!
What does that
That
mean?
is an adorable concept.
For a troll.
You have survival as a career skill.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I
Snake.
wondered if I should get it. And I decided not to.
Well, you don't start with a rank in it, unfortunately, but it is a career skill. So later, when you're spending experience points, it'll be cheaper to get.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Cool.
I'm just
Still have those
imagining
5
you
points
as
left over. You can spend it in that.
Krunk from Emperor's New Groove.
I'll have to watch that and see what
Cusco's
you mean.
poison. Poison for Cusco.
That's good.
Yeah, if you were buying
Poison
one rank
specifically
in a
chosen.
career skill,
Cusco's poison.
that would be 10.
Yes,
right?
that one.
One rank in it would be 5.
1 times 5, yeah.
They're the best combo
Yeah.
in all of Disneydom.
Good. Oh man.
A Disney movie's so good, even Jason.
We done
doesn't hate
all the merits?
Everybody got a merit?
it. Yep.
Yeah.
And the
Now
funny part about that,
32
that movie was
flaws.
almost not made.
I know.
Now we
right?
roll for flaws.
Yeah.
Isn't that
You got a
crazy?
40?
Why is it an amazing story?
32.
Your flaw is that you were gullible.
Oh,
Huh.
that's charming for a troll like that.
You're not stupid, you just tend to believe what people tell you rather than to take things with a grain of salt.
Oh boy.
All deception checks made against you
Ah.
are upgraded once.
Upgraded. Ooh.
So it's
I'm
easier
gonna
to
tell
deceive.
you so much bullshit stuff, man.
78.
Well, we're not going to roll for that.
78.
78. Poor personal hygiene.
Oh
Oh
jeez.
no. You stand on the opposite side of the room from your
Yep.
character.
Essentially, increase the difficulty of all social skill checks once.
Hello, fellow gamers.
So you get an extra difficulty die when you're trying to do social checks.
Oh, come on.
Ugh.
Shouldn't that not count for coercion?
I mean, I guess
There's
in
an
some
argument
cases
to be
it might-
made
Yeah,
there.
I can see the argument there.
Oh man, anything to get you to go away.
We'll judge
I'll
that on
be
a
out.
case by case
Yeah.
basis.
I'll be out of your hair.
Or I can't take you seriously because of the smell.
I'm totally
Video.
fine with
You're
it.
4.
4.
You are an airhead.
This is perfect for my intellect.
As a troll, I don't mind if you smell a little funny.
People don't take you
One of
seriously.
us.
Either you're just clueless, you look like a
Actually,
flake. Who knows? You're
I
trolls
like
paying
standing next to
attention.
him because it
You
makes me
add
smell
one
good.
failure to all social skill checks.
You smell worse than a
Ouch.
troll, my friend. That's
It's
something.
great perfume you have.
I get a 23.
23. You are crude.
Rude.
Crude,
What else is-
disgusting, and often
fitting.
rank. During most social situations, you'll suffer an additional setback die to the dice pool.
We are the worst social party.
Yes.
And the troll is a Boy Scout.
32.
32. You are easily surprised.
You're an assassin.
That's weird because I actually got. So I have quick draw, so I'm going to
Now-
be quick drawing all the time.
Oh yeah, you
Now,
Keep startling yourself.
now, for the flaws, if they are so outside the realm of the character that you're trying to build, you can take one mulligan.
Yeah, because that one.
I mean, I have a rank in
27?
deception, man. I can't be too crude.
You're disfigured.
Okay.
I've got
I can do
leadership
that.
and at 1 and coercion at 2, so I'm kind of tempted to
Just
pull
figured-
back on
I
Aaron.
believe.
Add one
hilarious.
failure to all social skill checks.
Ooh.
You get an automatic failure. Much like.
So we
Yeah.
really are.
Yeah, I might try to redo mine then.
Do you want to? You're more than welcome to reroll once.
Because yeah, I've got 2 ranks in coercion and 1 in leadership, so I wouldn't mind giving it a
Yeah,
retry
go
at
ahead.
least. 97.
97.
Almost exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Can I spell
From
deception with an ISC? That's weird.
You have a twitch. You have a repetitive motion that you make in times of stress, and it's a dead giveaway as to your
I
identity.
spelled deception.
Nice.
Nervous cough,
ISC.
constantly wringing your hands, cracking your knuckles,
just looked
something,
like-
whatever that may be.
What the?
I like it.
I don't expect to do much more stuff besides coercion,
Like it was discipline.
but I think I'll re-roll.
That's for you. If you want to, that's fine.
Because
You're gonna have to keep this.
62.
You have a missing eye.
Cyclops.
I am actually a Cyclops.
That would have been funny if you would have got it.
Did miss the other one now too?
The missing eye means
Don't worry, we'll
You're
get you that
actually
cybernetic
blind.
one.
upgrade the difficulty of all ranged weapon attacks, as well as other skill rolls subject to my discretion.
That's not so bad. I don't do ranged.
Like ranged magic, though?
Ranged magic doesn't count. See,
Oh, okay.
it says specifically difficulty of all ranged weapon attacks.
That's why I thought she'd be okay. I was
It's a
like,
good
oh,
check, yeah.
he didn't say magic, so
Well, at
You'll
least
be
I got
alright,
a
right?
really cool eye patch.
yeah, the coolest.
Is everyone good with their flaw?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Good.
It'll work.
Yeah.
So I just made Lady Victoria Claudia black again.
Oh,
It kind of sounds like it a little
It's
bit.
back.
Although she was more stabby than magic-y.
Well, this character is very stabby too.
Oh, okay, cool.
now
Pull out the train.
there's one last thing to do.
Okay.
You have 1,000 new yen to buy your equipment.
Woo. Well, my phone was almost dead. I had to plug it in, so
I'll pass the iPad around.
sorry.
Equipment.
My phone doesn't hold charge like
So
it should.
both of us are clearly going to be looking for some sort of melee weapon, so let's just hop to those right away.
Sounds like a great
What
idea.
page was
Now,
the?
mine.
The
Like
equipment
150?
starts on 145.
Are the 80 experience points I just spent, are they gone?
Are you
or
looking
they
for range
still part
light
of
too?
my total?
They're part of the total.
But they're no
However,
longer available.
It's
I
spent
can go.
yeah,
like-
you
No, it's
use your
okay, cool.
total
You
to
just look
kind
for
of
yours and I'll
guesstimate your
look mine
character's
in a minute.
level effectively.
Gotcha.
I think the first thing I want
Let's
to do
see.
is
There
spend
should
a lot
be a
on
table
normal.
down here somewhere. There we go.
There we are.
Sorry, Jason.
You know, you can do it like this. I was doing it before with your touchscreen.
You want to buy armor?
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a dice. Don't try to
Let
eat
me
it.
get to it.
Slayer,
Yeah.
Urban Tribe, Tomahawk.
Now armor is
Combat chains.
depending on the quality and everything. Obviously.
That doesn't affect magic.
Combat
it's just a rank.
Unfortunately, it is out of our price range.
Well,
we have
yeah, price
1,000.
range.
it depends on how heavy the armor is.
You
If
could
it's
buy
heavy armor,
a katana.
that
and that would be
So if it's not heavy armor, it should be fine.
I think that should be fine. If I remember
Yeah.
correctly. Yeah.
Okay.
Combat axe is
Um,
4,000 yen. A
So what kind
katana
of
is
armor are you looking for? Are
1,000.
you looking for like
Yeah.
clothing that's armored, or you're
You're on
actively
a
looking
whip.
for
I don't
like
want a whip. That's just
form-fitting
fucking
body
stuff.
armor? or
Shucks,
like-
not really either. Pole arm's better.
Obviously, the easiest thing to do is
survival
to do
knife. Just
armored clothing because that stuff just looks like
I would
your
like
average street
something
guard.
that
Like you're not
just
gonna
pumps out
trigger
the
security
damage.
or like
Mhm.
turn
You know,
heads
that
or
would allow me to
whatever.
really
So there's
use my
like places
brawn.
you can't go in.
Thermax
totally
is
Exactly.
well, no,
Well, because the police will stop you and be like, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you
It's a
walking down
thermax.
in
Burn
the middle of
to-
the town
Yeah,
in a, like a
it's
full body
effectively
gear?"
a flaming
You
axe.
know.
Why
It's
do you have a
thermal
riot
weight.
suit?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you have a riot
Yeah.
shield suddenly? Yeah.
Okay.
So
Those.
here's
Oh,
the
there is
armored
this on
clothing,
R?
and
Melee
depending
weapons?
on
Yeah,
For
next
melee.
page.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, then goes to
the
brawl.
line that you're picking, just
Let's
like in
go.
Shadowrun 5e, right?
Mhm.
It gives you like a bonus, like
Yeah, that combat axe is like the
the
dream axe for you.
Synergist business line
Plus
has an
40
automatic
damage,
advantage to any
crits
social
on
skill
3.
checks you make,
Yeah.
for instance.
It's cumbersome, but
Now, obviously, you can see.
I don't know what
I
cumbersome
can't
means.
see it. I'm
I'm
sorry.
assuming it
expensive
makes
stuff.
it like
Okay,
difficult
well,
to do other
um,
stuff. I'd have to
Here's
look
what
it up.
you can afford in your 1,000 new yen range.
Okay.
Pierce? I've got an axe that pierces, huh?
Regular armored
I guess
clothing.
it goes through. armor
It
better?
provides
Goes
one
through
soak,
soak.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
Oh.
okay.
an
Or
encumbrance
goes
of
through
two,
soak, or like goes
and it
through
has one
whatever
hard
value.
point.
What is
so you
vicious
could chain.
then?
You could add something. to it.
Vicious adds
That's
10 to your
450.
crits
Uh-huh.
Oh, God, that's
So they become more
awesome
severe.
weapon.
Yeah,
for
that's-
every
that's
for every
tempting
rank.
for-
So if it's
Um,
vicious
yeah.
2,
The
it'll add
Berwick
20.
line,
Nice.
which is
Pierce
Like,
and
Gotta
vicious.
start simpler.
I can
London
afford
classic,
a katana, but
you
just
know,
barely.
suit
I
work.
can't-
Yeah.
don't have anything else.
one soak,
just
one
start with a
encumbrance,
sword.
one
It's a
H,
plus
one
3.
hard point. That's
It's
950.
got defense one, which gotta
So
figure what
probably
that
don't
I
want to
also
buy
need
that
something
because I'd have
ranged.
50 new.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
which is
can't
why I
spend
wanna.
all
It just
my
gets
money
more
on my
expensive
melee
from
weapon.
there.
How much do you want to spend on
Probably gonna
armor?
lean
The
heavily-
cheapest
heavier
armor that
into
they
the
have
melee and then
is
from there.
400
I'll
new.
grab the sword.
And that's just the regular.
We'll start
armor clothes.
simple.
No, that's 450. The regular is called Globetrotter. It's like survivalist gear, so you're wearing like
There's nothing here
camouflage
that I
and stuff like that. That does one soak, one encumbrance,
Yeah,
but
that's
you don't
kinda
have a hard
weird.
point.
A lot of
You
it
can't
feels-
modify it.
I mean,
Okay.
the sword game's cool in
encumbrance.
terms of like
How does that
aiming,
work?
but
But
Your
It's
maximum
something huge.
encumbrance
Yeah,
is,
you want
if I
the
remember
big
correctly,
thing.
something
something
along
beefy
the
that's just gonna.
like a sledgehammer.
A katana looks good. It's too expensive for me. I mean,
and
I could
burn
buy
all
it.
the money.
Let me double check.
Hmm.
But again, it's a bit small. I mean, I'm just hoping for something beefy that would really just pump out.
Oh,
the
no, it's
damage.
5 plus your brawn.
Oh,
I kind of
fuck.
wish they'd have
So
like a
that's not
fire axe
Yeah.
or something.
And then on the
Yeah,
back of that
Thermax
sheet where you're going to
is-
put
Hold on,
like
I could
a
buy a
thing, there's a little
Thermax.
Yeah.
thing on the top right. Says
It'd be like
encumbrance.
your
You can
focus to
put
start
that value
with.
down.
Yeah.
And basically, your encumbrance is a number, and
that's
when you only
sort of-
have, just like Star Wars, like once those encumbrance numbers add up to your threshold,
So
you
what's the
can't,
price on the
Yeah.
can't carry them.
Alright, so
heavy ranged weapons?
seems like it's either
Yeah, we'll
between
have to
the
find
Grove
that out
Jogger
real quick.
or
Before I
the,
spend money
Regular
on the
armor.
thermax.
and the advantage to the regular armored clothes is
You get a hard point.
You get a hard point, but it's also one more.
Special is
Yes, and it's slightly more expensive. Another 50 new yen.
I think I'll go with that.
Armor clothing?
Mhm.
That's 450
Oh,
new
I don't
yen.
have any armor either.
You add one soak,
I mean, part of me says you almost don't need it with your soak
two
as is, but
encumbrance,
it can always go
and
up.
you have one hard
Yeah.
point.
So let's.
Aren't those ranged up there?
How many soak does that add?
What?
There was another
Throwing.
The
Uh,
armor.
The
I
one
think
that
those were
Broderick
melee.
bought?
Brawl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one. Just one soak.
Wow, those are surprisingly cheap as a result.
Because that's like the
They are, aren't they?
cheapest armor we can get.
Not the cheapest, but it is
But-
Okay,
like a baseline.
I'm starting to understand.
It's not
the,
special, it's
draw
not,
that brawl
like
has.
obviously combat armor. It's
Yeah.
just
like
you know,
Knuckles
one?
just
armor clothing.
dirt
Armor
cheap.
clothing. It's lightweight
Yeah.
ballistic fiber that you weave garments out of, so that it's.
Damage is plus
Two.
2.
I do
Which
like
is
the idea
decent.
that
Is it?
$150
What was the damage on the
one.
axe? I was so focused on
Yeah.
the specials that I didn't notice.
two. Thermax a
Thermax.
plus
And
two,
now-
but it's
encumbrance
got
of
that
2?
burn
Encumbrance
too,
of
which
2.
I think
Yeah.
does
So could I even
extra
carry a weapon
damage.
if I
Yeah.
only have a brawl?
Your encumbrance
So-
is 5 plus your
My
brawn.
brawl
5
is only
plus.
one
My
of the
bad.
side
I'm
effects
so-
on
I'm so
melee
sorry.
weapons.
Yeah.
I heard
So-
that. I'm sorry.
Did you want to look at these?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm-
go on up
I'm-
to these.
going with the sword.
Projectile and throwing weapons. These are all the ranged weapon options.
Just the
so
projectile
now I need to
ones.
look at
So if we go further down, we'll get to
Okay, so you got
firearms.
your armor.
Oh, I see.
What kind of weapon are you looking for?
I've got
filament
brawn
bola.
and melee. So
Okay, so you're doing no guns.
Do you see that?
Okay, so
I don't see. Oh,
do you want
yeah,
a
filament, but God, that sounds
brawn
horrible.
style weapon, or do you
Yeah.
want a melee?
Damage 5.
It's just gonna cut you in.
Because there are like
It
you
has
know,
to ensnare you. It's going
gloves,
to completely
knuckles,
just dismember you, isn't it?
I don't think whoever wrote this understands what monofilament means.
Because it goes between your molecules.
Can you give me
That's
some
wicked.
examples of the brawn
And
weapon?
it's cheap.
there are 3 types of brawl weapons.
What does
Right.
damage 5 mean?
Hardliner
what's the
gloves.
That
damage-
means it does just a flat 5.
Which have got like
regardless of my
um,
brawn?
a thin layer of like
Okay.
material
Yep.
along the ridges of the hand.
So
and
when
So
you're
it just
using
gives
like
you extra
the
damage.
collapsible
Yeah, it's a
bow, for
+1.
example,
Right,
you're
of
just
course.
gonna be
Because
Because it
damage.
doesn't
Nux,
matter how
which give
strong
you
I am,
+2
the
damage.
weapon's doing it. Okay.
But then for the
And
things
then
that you
shock
throw,
gloves,
like shuriken or throwing knife,
which
it's
have electric
plus
current.
because you're still using the brawn to
Electrical
generate
damage.
damage force.
They have a stun
So
3
that
as a
would
special.
be 6 plus my success.
and,
So a
Mhm.
minimum of 7. I see.
That's
How much
actually
would it
really
be?
deadly for throwing.
Nux
Yeah,
are
that's actually pretty
there.
good.
It's
isn't it?
100 new yen for. It's 100 new.
I
If you
should
got
get-
ranged light,
I should.
well, you got one in range
Well,
light. Yeah,
I've
you
got
can make
one
that
in
work.
range light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Technically,
I'm
they're
actually gonna buy
restricted.
2
Oh,
throwing
so-
knives.
No, you can still buy them. It's just
People are gonna look at you twice.
don't. You know.
Don't
2
wear them
throwing
out in
knives
public,
just.
yeah.
in
Well, no, you
case
can.
that's gonna
You can
be
do that, but like,
Okay.
don't go up to a cop and say,
Alright.
"Look at what I've got." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Onward.
they're not
please.
forbidden. They're just
Alright.
restricted.
Okay. Hold out pistols. So these are your
Hold
smaller
out
ones.
pistols.
Any
Alright.
pistol you
ranged
could put in
one,
your
whenever.
boot
Just
would be
whenever.
considered a
Ah.
holdout
So
pistol.
those are the
Our boots are
brawls.
pretty
We also have
big.
melee weapons.
And that's true as a troll.
So I think I'll go
I
with
think I
the-
might skip these guys.
Are you done?
We've got the.
But that
Okay.
doesn't mean you don't have to.
The Nux
you don't
use
get to look
brawl
at
as
it.
a
I've got
skill,
heavy,
obviously.
so I'm also not
Plus
as
2
interested in
damage.
light.
Yeah, well,
So
heavy
that's
is
brawn
much
plus
better
2.
than
Got interesting ones, I'm sure.
It has a crit of 3.
Let's see. So these are still ranged
pistols.
light.
The range is
pistols are
engaged,
ranged light?
obviously.
Yep.
Okay.
It takes like ranged
One
heavy is almost
encumbrance.
restricted to two-handed, but
Yeah.
there are still some light weapons.
No
that are
hard
two-handed.
points.
Okay.
Here's
Yeah,
some
like
heavy.
submachine
They
guns.
are.
And it has
I see.
disorient 3.
I see.
Oh,
And
these
the
are
prices are-
real prices.
That's a
Except
special
for the
effect.
AK-97,
So that's something you can
I'm
get on
not getting.
Reddit.
Yeah, the ranged
Yeah.
heavies are get pricey real fast.
Gosh,
Oh, yeah.
they do. I may have to.
When triggered, one
requisition
target is
of these.
disoriented a number of
I
rounds
may
equal
have to
to the
get
rate.
one. Take
Borrow
one from an
one.
So if you
opponent.
if you use your
Borrow
critical,
one.
Win
or
one.
whatever
Let's
you
see if
trigger
shotguns are a little bit
the
more
disorient
reasonable.
quality, they're disoriented.
Those
for
are a little
rounds.
bit more reasonable. You could sneak a
T250.
Defiance.
The assault
in
rifles were pretty bad.
They're
The
pricey,
rifles and the shotguns are a little bit
Ah,
pricey.
But also
okay.
gonna look at me like
Yeah,
that.
the assault rifles
How much,
are,
new you do?
are super pricey.
I have
The Defiance.
Yeah.
You spent
It's
450.
8 flat damage.
And plus 100 for
limited
the
ammo 5, so
So
in combat
5
you've only
or
got the 5
450.
shots.
You 450.
Yeah.
I only got 2 shots.
There's limited ammo 5.
I got for my Remington 950.
Ah, you've got limit, yeah.
And this is Vicious
Limit
2,
two.
which again, Vicious 2 would be a
Crit
plus
gets-
Adding
It's,
20 to
your
your
crit.
crit.
What kind of
That
do
sounds
you want?
pretty
Like a
awesome.
small
And what's
blade
your
or
crit
a large
rating?
blade?
Is
or-
I don't know. Where
It's a
are
You
we?
crit
want
of
like a,
3.
a
So
so
that
submachine
means you need
weapon, like
3 advantages or 3.
okay. I want something
It's
that
advantage,
I
right?
want
Yeah, it's
round
advantage.
3 advantages, and you can say those 3 advantages,
That does some
that's going to
damage.
activate a crit.
is
I see.
I'm thinking
So
of that's
Vicious
like
2.
my backup weapon.
Means
So-
once
so
you
when you-
crit,
Oh, that's the
Crit.
damage
Well,
it
I
does.
probably-
No, when you crit, you roll
It's a D100.
percentage dice,
based on what you
and
can
on
afford.
that table, that's what happens.
Oh,
And-
It could be
So-
something as simple as getting stunned, or something like you cut the man's head off.
I see.
When you have vicious, you add 20 to the roll,
Which makes it come
Worse.
come
which
higher
makes
on
it
the table.
yes
I see.
worse.
Okay.
So like death is at 150,
just flat out
Let's
dead.
see here.
Okay.
but of course you can only get that after
With the money that
sustaining
you have
crits or
left,
having a vicious attack.
the maximum
Because every time you get another
Damage
critical
addition
strike, you
that you
add
could
another
get
10.
That's
looks
the only
like
defiance on
a
this chart, isn't it? I don't have to write everything out.
Yep.
a 2.
That's sure.
It'd be brawn plus 2.
You could always also I'd probably also
Out of
write
the
down
ones that aren't
page
restricted,
number.
here's an example.
At least the damage.
The
yeah.
Cavalier Urban Tribe
Damage is
Tomahawk,
8.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, tomahawk.
the club,
Sounds like you can throw that tomahawk.
the combat knife, the extendable baton, the knife, real cheap, sap,
So what are you gonna get?
staff,
I might take a
survival
look at the
knife,
rifles first.
telescoping
Although
staff,
shotgun,
and the
shotgun's
tongue
going to be the fallback.
Okay,
Look at
probably
the
get
description
the
for the
telescoping
shotguns,
baton
because some
and
of them
the
I saw
telescoping
had
spies.
like added
Staff.
boost die and
extendable
stuff
baton.
Neat.
Um,
I don't have a lot of money. I want a
You
melee
basically,
weapon,
like-
which is a
I
sword.
know what
I
it
think
is.
It's
I know
half
what
my
it
money.
is.
I think even the
Um,
cheap shotguns have some
let's
stuff,
see.
so you might go
Yeah,
before.
we'll scroll through it.
The extendable baton gives you +2 to damage,
Because I know some of them
Three.
added like boost
That
die
was
for some
and
reason.
Encumbrance
450.
and it costs 100 new yen.
Let's see,
Uh-huh.
Defiance.
The telescoping staff costs 350 new yen.
Ah, apparently it's
It has a
small.
damage
you
of
auto-
plus two.
you add
It
an
has a crit
automatic
rating of
blue
4,
to check
an encumbrance
that
of
can
2,
seal it.
but it has a special
boost die.
defensive 1.
To conceal.
And defensive
No,
means that
rifles
you
are too
increase your
expensive.
melee defense by that rate. So you would get +1 to your
And
Really
the
like
snipers
the-
are going to be way off, aren't they?
Only like
Oh,
the
there's a pioneer.
So that's really what you're paying for.
yeah,
with
there's
the
one cheap
telescoping
one.
staff.
Yeah.
If I spend
There's a
most of my
few that
money
are
on
under
armor
1,000.
weapons,
Pioneer
I'm just
60.
going to totally be screwed
Just
with other
regular.
stuff that I need to buy.
Not necessarily.
That's
You
gonna
just
be
you buy like a
500 to
standard
buy a
comm
melee
link and
weapon.
you're good
That's
to go.
not gonna
You have
get
like a
you
computer.
500 will get you a
Because
sword with like
I have-
I got.
If I
guess
buy the staff, I'll have like
Let's,
100.
let's see if I can
million
find
left.
armor too.
Oh,
So
I
Armor's
that
like
gonna be
450
detrimental
if you want
I
armor
don't
clothing.
think so.
That
Let me
adds
look
2
at the-
so,
how much
so
the
then
comm
you
link
need to
is.
get like 6.
Because that's something I think you should.
that
you
way I
should
can be
have
on
just-
Oh
par
yeah,
with you.
Right.
every shadow.
Oh, maybe I'll get
yeah,
armor
yeah.
instead of a melee
Let me go take a
weapon.
look at the comm link.
And just grab something.
and just
first.
brawl. Or
Well,
No,
just-
grab
my
something.
melee is higher than my brawl. But I'm
Um,
imagining I'll find a melee weapon at some point.
Just find a stick.
Arrow.
you can do impromptu weapons, but there's setbacks for that.
Mm.
Electronics.
It's not
So-
too bad though.
So you just need a club or something.
Clubs are cheap.
Mm-hmm.
A
Swords
comm
look
link
good with clubs.
costs
Yeah, it's
100
true.
million.
Just, I mean,
There you
just
go.
grab a
So,
tree
yeah,
branch.
that's-
It's like a standard issue comm link. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
that's
yeah.
about as stereotypical as
Okay,
you can
so
get.
Yeah.
Just a whole tree trunk. The
Hit him
whole
with a
thing.
tree. Is this armor?
Yourself protecting yourself.
Yeah, that was weird.
There's
I read
some,
it the
yeah.
same way.
Like that.
You're self-protecting.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I
and
wanted to
the
say.
comm link.
Okay.
Does that have any
Armored clothes
encumbrance or anything?
is only a soak 1.
Oh, sorry. Let me get back to it. I thought you
What
were
is it?
Encumbrance 2 has
Get the
1
staff
modification
information.
slot.
Well, I'm going to need to. I just
Was
wanna-
that like the
Okay, yeah, let me look at that real
one?
quick.
That's
I'll get back to
450.
it.
Yeah,
Again, I wish
some
they
of those
were,
are
Yeah.
achievable.
Bookmarks.
Okay.
Okay,
Steampunk
comm link,
line. I don't know
no
what that
encumbrance,
Yeah.
because it's
Just
basically
like
small.
lines of clothing.
It's like the size of a cell phone.
Executive suite, it's a little more fancy.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
is. Actually,
Alright.
steampunk line
And
gets you +1
telescoping
on.
staff.
The telescoping
Oh, I
staff
see, you get
specifically,
+2
the one
on
that
the
said melee
encumbrance,
defense.
but
So
Let me
they're
get the-
heavier. But
The steampunk line is actually.
Cheap.
Well,
It's
it is.
$4.50.
yeah, wow.
But why would you get armor clothing if you could get steampunk line for the same price? What am I missing? Armor clothing gets 1 HP.
Yep, your HP
Hard
or hard
points.
points.
Like you
So-
can make a modification to it. You can
Mhm.
add like a extra
Oh, I
pocket
see.
or some special thing.
I
And
see.
one defense adds a setback dice to attacks against you,
Mhm.
and so
Oh, and there's shields.
versus
that's a good
soak
way around
is
it.
you know so.
The telescoping staff
Hmm.
uses melee as a
That's
skill,
actually a neat way
obviously.
around it. They've
Plus
got some
2
shields.
damage.
Shield.
Uh,
Oh, is the
4
riot
crit,
shield better than the armor?
engaged range,
And it's heavier,
2
but you do get a
encumbrance.
flat defense bonus. That's kind of
1 hard point,
Doesn't add to my soak.
and of
It's
course
got 2 hard
defensive
points.
1.
3 encumbrance. That,
Interesting. Why is it built that way? That's weird.
Oh,
I see. It does. So it's not actually better than the armor.
Do we
Because
have a
this is
charger
bad.
that you can run? Like, what kind of
Yeah.
charger do you need?
It gives you no
micro
soak, but it gives you
USB.
defense.
It's
It's
super
just
common,
heavy.
but that's fine. It
But
won't take
it's
a while
highly
for it to get
modifiable.
enough charge to even turn on.
Right. Whereas the armor doesn't give me defense, but it
Let's just
increases
do that
my
to
soak.
look
Right.
name.
I'm half tempted to just like completely forsake the ranged weapon and go with a shield.
Yeah. Riot shield.
Just do it. Just
Show
do
up
it.
with a ballistic shield and armor and be like, "Sup? How you
Yeah,
doing?"
That is.
That sounds fun.
do it.
Look into it. Hold on. Armored bodysuits. Are these cheaper? Probably not.
Do these weapons have a number of hands?
Some of them are cheaper.
Oh.
There's a biocell.
The telescoping staff should be used in
Bike racing.
like
armor.
you can do it in any way you want.
is
Nice.
bike
So,
racing
we
armor?
do
No,
it
so
again.
plus 100.
Oh, no,
Gives
hold
you
on.
the
Sorry.
defense.
This weapon requires 2 hands to wield.
Biogel suit is very
The
cumbersome.
steps make.
Oh, that's why. Okay, so
Does,
it's just like a
magic
heavy
have
gel
somatic
suit,
components?
literally.
What is it? How does encumbrance work?
It's
Uh,
5 plus your brawn.
you have a sorry, just a second. You have a threshold of 5 plus your brawn.
Okay. And
Basically,
anything above that causes you problems.
you start getting problems.
Oh, so
Yeah.
if my brawn is 4, then I've got a threshold of 9.
Yes, you can carry a lot
before
of
it
stuff.
bothers me at all.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you can have like 2, 2, 1, 2, before you even are approaching your
I
threshold.
see. Oh, but my weapon also does has encumbrance?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay.
Everything is encumbrance. Yeah. It does have
Well,
like
I was thinking,
a
oh, I could
somatic
just
component,
biogel suit, because
but you don't have to
Encumbrance
drop the
doesn't mean
staff.
much to you. Yeah.
So,
Well-
like, if you're not using the staff to
that'll only give me
attack or
3
anything, you
encumbrance.
can
And
cast
that's
the spell.
The point is that
feeling
you
that
can't
my
have
You might
shotgun
both the staff equipped
my
and
throwing
wielded
knife
and
are
another
gonna do
weapon.
something.
Okay.
That's the notion.
So, yeah,
Okay.
biogel suit, semi-translucent.
I mean, it makes
organic
sense for you to like
pair of
release
body
the
gloves.
staff in one hand and do a magical thing,
Okay.
but you couldn't do it at the same time.
And try to
attack.
effectively bash someone with
Yeah.
it, because then you don't have your full strength. kind of thing.
Yeah.
Plus 1 soak.
Okay.
So it's from brawn melee weapons or bludgeon. Ah, okay. So if somebody's punching you, you get extra soak off of it.
Okay.
Wow. However, a character adds a setback dice to any brawn or agility checks while wearing the armor.
Oh, I don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
that's a
That's
not
a bad trade-off.
I think I'm gonna grab
Forgot
that
me.
ballistic shield real quick. Do some
Encumbrances.
fun dumb stuff.
Shield is 3. I think I may get the riot shield.
I mean, push comes to shove, you could always just smack
that'll
someone
clean
with the
me
shield.
out.
Yeah,
Alright.
that is tempting. Because yeah, I could do the riot shield. It's got more room for enhancement. I may just go ballistic for now. Keep it simple. Yeah.
I'm just saying, did you see that they had a monofilament bullets?
Wait. Yeah, the riot shield and the ballistic shield.
The difference is the modification,
Yeah.
modifiability of it. If you
How
will.
important is that?
Depends.
I know, but
We'll
on
have to
what?
check it out. Yeah.
Well,
Is that something I'm likely to need now?
no,
No.
Okay.
probably not.
Then I
But for
can
like,
pick something else up as we go.
if you're like a techie or something like that, and you want to like trick out your gun to have like a telescoping sight and like, homing bullets and stuff like that, then you're going to need the hard points to make that stuff happen.
Okay.
If you're not interested in that, then you don't need it.
Okay. So
You're not willing to
ballistic
spend-
shield is
spend
a
a new
plus
yen
1
on
to
it.
defense. Oh, it cost me 200, so that leaves me with 300 yen.
Yep.
Okay. So
I'm gonna
gonna-
check out the mods as
One
soon
to
as
my
you get this
defense.
down.
So you're probably good to go, aren't you?
is that
Pretty
does
much.
that mean
I'm
to
trying to
range
think of a name
and
with my
melee?
Well, of
phone.
course. Yeah.
With my phone off, it's hard. Cause
I can actually generate names for it if you want
I'm
me
gonna
to.
see if I
no,
can find
because I usually steal names from a certain series.
military grade armor. Whoo, boy, this is the fun stuff.
Now again, if you
With
wear
all
that
the
stuff out in
money.
public,
We can't afford
Well, yeah.
any of it. Any of it. It's all
There's
neat.
no,
Let's
yeah.
see.
This is
Okay,
like
here you go.
15 times our.
Armor attachments. So these are the things. Hardpoint required modifies. So they'll probably have a table down here. There we go.
Yeah,
Type and cost.
I'm
Ablative
thinking.
coating, armored spikes, chemical protection, custom fit. Is there anything cheap?
Is it reasonable for me to expect that after I've bludgeoned a few people, I can take their stuff?
yeah.
Steal all
So-
the things.
I mean, if you're in the middle of the street, probably no. But if you're in a back alley somewhere, like, you just take this shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do we need a Shadowrun name or a regular name?
You need
both.
Both.
You need your runner name, and you
You
need.
need your regular name, and then you need your runner name.
Okay. What's
Okay. That's. I'll need some explanation on that.
So.
But so
Runner name's your operating name. Like Steven's real
it's
name
like a CB.
is
It's like a
Stephen
CB
Murray.
handle.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Stephen Murray, but his shadow running name is like
Foxhound.
sure,
Nah, somebody else already has it. You can't use that.
or like
That's
Bon
Sly
Bon
Fox.
is the one I've
also,
seen before.
Hound?
Like,
Really?
So
Sorry, I had Sly
my
Fox
next
Hound,
question for you is:
which
was
is
I born a troll, or did
Some-
I become a troll
sometimes.
when I went through puberty?
It depends.
It depends
So,
on
I
the
mean-
person.
My name could just be Clint Jones, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or I could be fat.
Even if you were born a troll, you still might be Clint Jones. It depends on the circumstances of your birth, right?
Right.
And if your parents are like, no, you're a good human boy, despite being massive.
Like most people,
You're our little baby.
most people, they have at this point sort of racial holdovers and cultural holdovers and everything are so mixed up that like people are taking like German and Spanish names and like mashing them together and like that's just your name now. And your surname doesn't necessarily mean anything other than these are the people you're related to.
Gotcha.
You're not from necessarily this part of the country because those people now live in Hong Kong and, those people live in Seattle, which is, now as part of the UCAS. Or
So it's
whatever.
quite like my name is Shlomo McPherson.
Yes.
It could be.
If you wanted to, yeah.
Sure.
Senor Shlomo.
Yeah, you could be
Senior
like,
Shlomo.
you could be Benito
Moose.
Zhong Ying.
that's
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's
Sure. Okay.
it's whatever you want.
And as I recall from the one campaign book I read, there are also like non-human societies. We have all gone off. We are trolls, and we're creating a troll society, and we're creating troll names, and we're going to start naming ourselves monosyllables. And
Yes.
okay,
Embrace.
And a good example of this is that basically Ireland is now Elf Kingdom. Tir na nog or whatever.
Tir na nog, right, sure.
And so now that's like pure elf state. All the elves go there and they're elfin glory and like that's it.
And it takes
Not to
forever
men- not-
because Elvin.
Not to say that elves don't appear
Isn't-
literally
isn't that the
everywhere
trees?
else. It's just
Right.
that
What?
this
Isn't
is
that the
elf country.
trees?
Right.
In Tolkien.
so
Tolkien, yeah. And Shadowrun.
will two elf parents invariably give birth to an elf child?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That's the weirdness of this.
It's the random. There's a little random.
All the metatypes can interbreed
Right, sure.
and this genetic expression is variable.
Okay.
Just like any other genetic expression. Like sometimes there's a higher chance of it occurring, but it's not a certainty.
right, sure.
And you're not necessarily going to see like, oh, you're a half orc. Like that doesn't exist in this setting.
Okay.
So
You're an orc or you're
troll,
not.
Yeah, you're an orc or you're not.
Okay.
That's-
Sorry, what?
He might have
That's-
not fully
Yeah.
transitioned
Yeah,
if
possibly.
you've just hit that
You could potentially
Stage.
be going through, a transitionary period.
that,
but,
that goblinization.
but
Is
that
that
is a
painful?
process.
That's
I don't know. I don't know a lot about
In
that.
world.
as an
it.
actual
It might
process.
be.
Is it like you're in bed for the next 6 months because you're
Just
racked
out
with
of
pain
curiosity,
as
what
you
is that?
turn
It
into a
might be
troll?
like
Yeah.
growing pains.
while you
Operating?
lose your girlish good looks.
If you're trying to pilot a Zeppelin,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
steer a ship,
Wouldn't that be under driving?
no,
No, so
not necessarily.
It's in the air.
I even got a name.
Dock a
I'm ready to
spaceship,
go.
like it's very specific. Anything that's not really covered by driving or piloting
All right. Where are we?
I've
lost track.
I've redone
would
it.
be part of
I've
I have
bought a
changed
tomahawk.
Everything.
Shotgun. So I've now got 300 yen because that shield just does not cost that much.
Yep.
So
Pray I
what
do
is
not change
300
it
going to
again.
get me? A combat knife.
We're gonna do it alter it further.
Now I've got
Something
six.
like that.
Something like that.
I've
That's
got
what-
600
that's
sitting
I've
around
altered the
with
plan.
with
Try
a
to do alter
tomahawk
it
and a
further,
shield.
something like that.
Mhm.
So now I want to actually look at some armor and maybe boost my soak so I can be on scale with a troll. I'm one away, so it shouldn't be hard.
Well, now,
but
you don't have to be a tank just because you're fighting, right?
I also don't want to die immediately.
No, you don't want to do that.
Also, you will always have more hit points than me.
That's true.
That's why you take parry and take strain instead of
I
rules.
Now,
took-
if we
yes.
want to, so what is your mercenary? Okay.
Yep.
And then you get
so
grow
here's
or
if we want to synergize, I've got challenge from my talent, so I can just draw the aggro and you can pound away at them.
That makes sense, because I grabbed a tier 2 lucky strike, so I can spend 1 story point to add a characteristic worth of damage, which would be
Synergy.
brawn, which would be 4 extra damage.
Nice.
It's gonna hurt. Okay, 600 left over now. I can probably get armor.
Now keep in mind, as you're spending your money,
It goes quick.
probably want to buy a comlink. You don't have to.
How much are they?
Oh.
Comlink is 100 new yen.
Oh, damn it. That
I can
means I
do
don't
that.
get my
You
bonus.
don't have to.
I will be the contact
What is a
person.
comlink?
A comlink is like, imagine that you have a cell phone,
Okay.
but that cell phone can like do
do anything.
it can run complex calculations. It can get you like into the matrix. It can search like all the data net. Like it's a souped up
That cell phone
phone.
is
It's a
your
computer
desktop
in a pocket.
computer.
Yeah, it's-
Okay.
So if you want to do anything like, if you want to have on your person the ability to like search the matrix,
Right.
or do any kind of hacking, or like, be able
Call
to
someone.
communicate with people at any time, at any point, you need the comp. There are public terminals. There are public access points.
Okay.
They're slow as hell, but they're there.
Everyone
so you
will
don't
give you weird
need
looks.
one. But you may have to shoulder some asshole out of the way to use it if you're in a hurry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't worry, we got a scroll for that.
Yeah, no, just wave the gun at them. They will leave.
And then they will report you to the Hong Kong Police Department, who will
And
show up
it's
very quickly.
Time to go.
With lots of rifles.
What's the one in Snow Crash? The Hong
So-
Kong.
It's
Do we
fine.
know
I'm a
what our-
clone. They don't know who I am.
That's the.
Do we know yet? I don't know what the campaign's all about. Are we criminals? Are we?
We are
Shadowrunners are technically criminals.
quasi illegal.
Yes.
We can be hired to do legal action, but the majority of the time we are hired by companies where they're like, here's some discretionary money that doesn't appear on our books, so you can do something to benefit us.
By stealing something from a rival corporation, or
What is a Shadowrunner? Is it basically just a mercenary
mercenary.
criminal?
basically a
Just a
mercenary.
mercenary. Okay.
Yeah. But specifically a mercenary who is at the behest of certain organizations or corporations trying to make enough money to like crawl out of the dystopia that they find themselves living in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
They're the freelance.
Oh, I didn't buy
Kind
any ammo
of.
for my shotgun.
You get
Like,
first for free.
like
You only run out of
Spec Ops
ammo
kind
if it's
of.
got a limited ammo, or if you happen to roll a despair.
Not associated with the government.
Well,
I wouldn't
Unless
worry
you
too
work
much
for
about it with the
Aslan,
first
then
run. Yeah,
you work
with the
for
first run, I
Aztec,
wouldn't worry
which-
too much.
Right.
If you've got leftover
Works for
money, I
Aslan.
think you can probably buy.
But they
some
do a
ammo.
lot
I've got
of
this
their own,
300
mostly
yen with no
in-house.
melee weapon.
Yeah.
So I'd like to
Okay.
get a melee
that's-
weapon, but I'm wondering how to
missile
save
test.
my money for. I don't know if I need
Ammo
combo.
works in a weird way.
so the way the ammo works, if you bought a weapon that requires
It's-
ammo, you don't have to buy ammo for it right now.
Okay.
It comes with like just like sometimes you buy a weapon,
first.
it comes with like a box of cartridges or something.
Okay.
Sometimes with disadvantages or
out
despairs,
of ammo.
what I can do is say you ran out of ammo. If you've bought one of the the ammo types of your
So if
weapon,
you did like a regular ammo,
You
for
can-
only 20 new yen.
then you can reload.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yeah.
But then if it happens again and you're out of ammo again, you got to go get more.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Now, mind you, there's
You're not
some fun
tracking it
things.
one for one like you would in some other
Okay.
system.
There's some fun ammo.
Yeah, like you can
So knowledge
buy
levels are
literal
based off
rock
of
salt
intelligence,
rounds
right?
Yes.
if you want to be quote unquote non-lethal.
Right. If you want to be nice. With rocks.
Nice is not really
Not really our
not really a Shadowrunner thing. No.
No.
And Shadowrunners aren't
Does
really
not
nice. They
check
do what they
out.
have to do to survive.
Yeah. Usually the way the
Does
like
not check out
metagame
with
works
Shadowrun.
for it is
Okay.
you're given a job and it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to pay really well, but it's going to be low karma, and that's the old systems experience, which karma is this mix of like experience as well as good deeds.
Okay.
for
Your
lack of
social
a better-
standing, in a
Yeah,
way.
some social standing. It's either going to pay a lot because a corporation is funding it, or it's going to probably net you a lot more karma out of it because it's kind of a public interest sort of deal.
Make people like you.
I don't know how that works in this version of it, but I would imagine
There's
they
not-
would copy.
There's not
some of
really
the
a karma
feel.
thing.
Okay.
You get experience points, and then you get certain benefits based on, your contacts' loyalties might go up. You might gain new contacts,
Ah, okay.
that sort of thing, depending on the kinds of jobs you do. Bottom line, you need new yen to live, survive, to move up in the
Constantly
world,
Need more new yen.
and that's what
More
Shadowrunners
the,
do. Now, sometimes they do that in addition, out of a sense of, political interest or idealism or nihilism or whatever.
seems more
Like,
Eastern stuff. Unless it's
That's-
Thank you.
they're basically cyberpunk freelancers, if you want to look at it like that.
All right.
And I just learned what freelancer actually meant.
Ah,
Yes.
the older term.
There was there you have a soldier who's not a knight or whatever, who's not beholden to like a particular like kingdom
more
or
hedge
fiefdom
knight.
or whatever, has a lance,
That's-
and he's free to be hired. So he's literally a free lancer. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
So it's one of those
skip that.
holdovers.
It's the whole hedge knight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna just do armored clothing. That's an encumbrance of what?
Did you come up with a name yet?
Yeah.
I would love to record that name.
Togashi.
Is that your shadow running name?
No, that's my real name.
What's your shadow running name?
Gon.
G-O-N-G?
G-O-N.
G-O-N.
Gold. Nice.
Gon. But you know, it's the homonym of Gon, as in like
Gon,
an assassin.
Are you're a human, right?
Human.
Yeah. And what's your career was assassin?
What?
Your career was assassin.
Assassin.
Are we going to be using Shadowrun names when we talk to each other, or real names?
Definitely Shadowrun.
You should use Shadowrun names when you're on the
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
It's people
That's
will
why I
give you
went something
weird
more
looks
simple.
if you're
I'm
given
done
your
as
real
well.
name.
Cool. So Lance is gone, the human assassin. Robert.
You know, Hunter x Hunter.
Mhm.
That is
So
the
do you
author
want both names?
and the main
I really
character.
don't necessarily
I
need
hate
your
his look,
like
though.
legal name.
Okay.
It took them like
Later, I might
what,
there might be
100
a con-
episodes
there might
before
be a
they're like,
guy
we're
who's
just gonna
his leverage
just
on
gonna
it because he
redo
knows
that
your
a little
actual
bit.
name.
Okay.
But
My
But yeah.
shadow running name is Lady Widow.
okay,
Just pray I don't become adult Gon.
and you are a human
Battle Mage.
battle mage. Okay.
Ooh, gun.
Do you happen to be ready, Rachel?
I am.
Cool.
My real name is L6. E-L-L-E. 6, because I'm a clone.
You're a clone, right?
My Shadowrun name is Styx. Like the
Styx.
river.
Nice.
Nice.
Right.
STYX.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It is YX, isn't it?
Because why not?
Styx, you are a clone.
Yep.
And what's your career again?
Special ops. Covert ops specialist. Sorry.
Covert ops specialist.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really tired.
Yeah, I feel that.
You said comlinks were 100?
Yep, 100.
Trying to hunt them down, get the
I like
what the
it.
encumbrance on those are.
No,
It's got
no
kind
pounds.
of-
Oh, sweet.
It's like
I love penguins. My favorite.
So
like a
lightweight.
couple of ounces. It's not a big deal.
Nice.
Okay. Trey, do you happen to have a name for your character? Yet?
I do.
I only need the shadow running name, so it's like,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Pulse, because it's the first thing that popped
Pulse.
into my head.
Got it?
Right.
And you are a troll tank.
Yes. I'm a Cyclops.
Specifically Cyclops. Good.
Yes. Because I figured I had to choose.
Okay.
So I did.
Well, you don't have to. You could just be like a generic troll. But it's fun to have those little
The bridge troll.
subtypes. And Steven.
Rock troll.
I'm gonna need a moment.
Sure.
What was
When
yours?
you're done, let me take a look and see
What
if I
was
can
yours?
find something.
My
related
shadow
to
running
do.
name.
When you're
Lady
ready.
Widow.
Take your time.
I'm good. I'm trying
Widow.
to come up with a name.
Widow.
Which direction am I going for the weapons? Up? Okay.
Yeah, you can use search if you need to.
Oh, I'll probably find
They'll
it.
probably get you there quicker. Actually, if you're going for melee, I remember the page number.
Oh, okay.
It's like 150. Save you 100 pages or so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
there's
Thermax.
details on your Thermax, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a Thermax. I can't afford it.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted a Thermax, but
One day.
I bought
You do a
shield.
decent job, you might be able to buy one.
I think we'll just go with the simple moniker of Oni.
ONI.
Yep.
You're an orc.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I
Orc
can't buy a
mercenary.
Merc.
Who's honestly
Orc
looking
owner.
way more like a street samurai. But
Well, you know.
you know how it goes. Yeah.
Mercenary turned street samurai,
Yep.
if you will.
So characters presenting male.
Yes, that's a good
Male.
thing to note.
Steven, male or female?
Male.
Female. Lady, obviously. Female as well.
It's not bad, actually.
So female for Robert and Rachel's characters.
Yep.
Everyone else is a male character.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, not that it matters. You could be non-binary or whatever.
Sure, yeah, that too. I just want to know what pronoun to use.
Yeah.
Alright, telescoping stuff.
I feel like you have to make it bigger than like a regular bouquin or something like that. It's got to be like, or troll sized, you know,
Yeah.
good sized staff.
But then it would do more damage.
Yeah, you'd want, yeah.
But, so I actually look like I'm carrying a wand.
It's one-handed now.
I mean, you are a troll.
Nice.
So damage.
It's interesting.
+2.
With my trait and the staff, I get a melee defense of 3 if I use guardian stance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, somebody's going to try to snipe you, but you'll be fine.
It is what it
You'll
is.
be fine.
you know.
We'll do our best to make sure
3.
nobody gets through the front lines.
There's not a place for crit here.
Now,
Oh, there it is. Yes.
my character is a clone, so she's gonna look pretty. Is there like still
4.
prevalent or more common type of clone that would be made at this time?
Genotypes?
You know what I mean?
It is completely open to collaborative world building.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like, strict clone laws result in no clone having a lifespan beyond 50 years.
Yeah.
There's the molly.
It is assumed that this is a corporation-produced clone tailored for a specific job. In accordance with all strict clone laws, let's see, worldwide law, default programming, blah, blah, blah. So, like, it just depends on, you know, what do you want your model to,
What did they
Right.
do?
what did they do? You know, like, what are they supposed to be for? Why
What are you actually
Why are you a Shadowrunner?
Well, I am a female clone, so I assumed I was made to be nice to look at. So that's why I was asking what the.
I don't know, you know.
And that'll always be a secondary, right? It's just what's going to happen when people play God. They're always going to be like, yeah, but it needs a nice ass.
Yeah, basically.
And
Like,
no
oh, it
matter
should
what.
look like
Yeah.
this ideal.
Well,
you know?
no, there's going to be some that are like generic because then people are buying them for like their
for
kids,
vast.
and then it's cheaper.
Corporations are making them. So, like, you got to have money to buy this.
Yeah.
I'm just.
But there may be entry models which are just
Yeah,
meant
like
to be
the-
sort of
the cheap-
mundane.
And then you get your premium features.
I assumed it would just be. I was just going for more of a mass
Heated seats.
appeal type thing. That's all.
There you go. Some sort of, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but what job,
Job,
does
yeah.
the clone do?
Are
Does
these the cloned news anchors that everyone sees?
Are they clone like housemaids? Are they clone like secretaries? Are they clone stewardesses? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, what-
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
and that'll only become relevant in the course of the game. You know? It's not something that you need to
Okay.
belabor. But
There you are. Come over here and get
depending on where you are, you may run into, you know, your model all the time, or rarely, or you know, depends.
Okay.
You've got to come to me. You can't just sit there and whine. It doesn't work. I need you to understand.
I mean, 6 months from now, he might figure it out.
We can only hope.
Okay, fine. I don't have a column link.
I've got one. So at the very least, we will be able to call and communicate.
Okay. How is there no oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, it may take a moment to find it in the 600 plus pages.
Yeah, exactly. Ballistic shield.
There you go.
Oh, I forgot to ask. There wasn't any magic stuff I had to buy, was there?
No.
Okay.
It's like a. It's part of your. It's part of the awakening, right? So you don't necessarily have to. You might get like, something to help focus the magical energies, or maybe you get a cool artifact or something like that that's
Totem.
imbued with magical power, or a totem, or something that tracks spirits or
Yeah,
whatever.
but I don't need like a component.
No.
Yeah, most of the time,
Find your local
You s-
talismonger.
your spirits are doing most of the magic in that sense. You have a totem to like
Ballistic shield.
focus them.
2. How much is 30?
Ugh.
Yes, I forgot about my encumbrance.
I feel like you can get away with that though.
Shotgun. See what that.
I would imagine that's a 2.
I think that's like a 2 or 3.
All right.
Yeah.
In terms of what, encumbrance?
Encumbrance.
Shotgun.
Because my rifle is a 3.
So yeah, I'm well below my 9 threshold.
Yeah. I would imagine it's a 2 because it's got advantage to hiding it. So
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Seems like a smaller weapon as a result.
smaller. Yeah.
Okay. I spent a lot of money and bought very little.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah,
I
bought
only
3
bought
things.
2 things.
Yeah, me too.
It's 2076, man.
Welcome to capitalism.
Yeah. Well, into hyper capitalism.
It's the worst.
Hypercapitalism.
You either have all of the money or none of the money.
Inflation.
I'm using a telescoping staff.
That's the size of like a light pole.
Yeah.
It's actually he just squished a light pole and then he just flattens it out when he
Right.
needs to.
Like an accordion?
Yes.
Sounds great.
Technically not street legal. Or is it technically street legal? Because it's a light pole. I don't know.
I
These
think
are
there
the
might
deep
be a
questions
few
we can't
violations of like vandalism.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those things where like you want to ask, but you don't want to.
But you don't want to know.
You don't want to clarify. 'Cause
They,
then
they
you have
want
an
to
answer.
find they want to find the troll officer to ask the troll.
Yeah, because boy, the human officers sure don't want to ask.
Not unless they've got like 8 of their buddies.
Right.
You see that huge guy walk in, you're like, do you want to ask him if he's got a permit? I don't want to ask him if he's got a permit.
He's fine.
His
That's
eye
Lone Star's
was a little
problem.
bloodshot.
Well, it depends. What timeline are we in? Because if Lone Star lost the Seattle contract sometime between like 4th and 5th edition, they might be in Hong Kong.
Lone Star's not in Hong Kong.
Ah, there you go. I guess they folded as a company.
Well, maybe.
It depends on time period.
Who knows?
Yeah. That's fair.
Mostly in Hong Kong, you're going to be dealing with private corporate security forces of varying sort of like sizes, and the Hong Kong Police Department.
Mm-hmm. Who hate you and the corporation.
They hate everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Is everybody good to go? Huh?
Yeah.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Chee.
What do you want?
this dog. This dog.
Okay.
I'm guessing Polyphemus is not a better name than Pulse.
Pulse is at least easier to say over the comm link as you're running away from gunfights.
Mm-hmm. You got to think about that aspect.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
guess so.
But then also, like, maybe your full name is Polyphemus.
My full name is Demetrius Xanthopoulos.
Nice.
Makes sense. You're a Cyclops. You got your Mediterranean here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just in an island, you know, with your good old buddy Poseidon.
Yeah, exactly. My bad.
Poseidon. Brosidon.
They
from the
hurt
ocean.
me.
Okay.
No one.
First things first. What you need to do is take one of these and roll them. You might already have one.
I do not, unfortunately.
I didn't get mine out.
That's okay.
What am I rolling? Oh, I'm guessing a black dot is not as good as a white dot.
Oh,
It is bad news.
So tell me what you got.
Too good.
2 white dots.
We need
Who's
that.
No, you and I both got one bad.
I got 1 white dot.
Got 1 white dot,
About what we'd expect.
and then 1 black dot. Is that it?
I got a black dot.
Okay.
Black, black, and 1 black.
2 blacks.
2 black.
Two,
so
So
1
4
more black.
black and 3 white.
Oh, 4 black? Okay. There you go. So those are your story points, right?
Neat.
Red is bad, green is good.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
Gun
that's
is
great
good.
until we turn them all bad, and then you just
Which is
turn them
odd,
all
'cause
good
there's
and
a
say
lot
we're
more-
surrounded.
White than black. on
Yeah,
these
yeah.
things.
Forced playback.
Yeah.
Normally these things are used to not only determine in the Star Wars version it's like force points or destiny points, right? But you also use it when you're casting force powers to determine if you have to
Can you pull that much?
can you do it? You know what I mean?
Right,
Without straining or going over the dark side. Blah, blah. Okay.
Pooping a little bit.
Yeah, I mean nobody talks about that, but there is a strain level there that does. Yeah,
Just weren't prepared.
continence is definitely an issue.
With Jedi.
Yeah. What do you think they wear this free-flowing robe so it's easy to clean? You know?
I really wish I hadn't said that.
just
It's
slides
too
out.
late.
It's out now. It's like, oh, inside Trey, keep that stuff
That's
inside.
So-
why they wear the robe. It's out now.
So for the
Touch your
Shadowrunners,
clothes.